we go. Okay. What is going on, everyone? Welcome. This is, we're live on Restream now. Chris Ransom, William Yanish of Under the Bleachers. This is episode 999 on TalkShoe, the second to last episode. And I was originally only going to have this episode today, but then on Sunday morning, I got a text that the MLB Draft had, because I Googled MLB Draft time Sunday morning, Saturday 1 p.m. So that curveball threw me off, and if I didn't catch that in time, we would have been screwed. Like, that would have been a missed deadline and a failure on my end. But, yeah, we caught that in time, luckily, and we're here. And Rock Lobster.
Well,
I don't know why I sang that. Rock Chalosky is expected to go number one now. Yeah, just and for anyone who's the Pirates traded for last night, that picked up a few minutes ago. The White Sox get four from the Pirates for a shortstop in the first round of 2023 and 2025. So at 10 and 15, so they traded the guy they drafted 15th overall, and they got picked 34. How does this not list the position for Rock Chalosky? I mean, like, what the hell am I doing here? I thought I listed shortstop as the position for Rock Chalosky. Okay.
oh, well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I thought I listed that. But to be fair, it's like, look, I mean, there were a lot of players that I thought could go number one when I was making this. This write-up is from back in May, because, like, right after the NFL draft ended, I spent Sundays starting to get through the early picks of the MLB Mock Draft, and, like, this White Sox write-up is actually from the beginning of May, because all these guys were in the running at that time. And then
I remember last time we were talking about this, and I had Chalosky coming out of my mouth, the words and this is going to be Polish Heritage Night all over again.
This is basically what I said. Emerson and Lee. I was expecting those to be three. Followed like two.
Yeah.
That is what happened, and then Emerson was the favorite to go first overall earlier in the week after Jonathan Mayo and Jim Callis had him at number one in their final player rankings, but they both had the same age. Chicago does not want to pay more than $9.79 million. They do not want to pay more than $9.5 million for Emerson. They're split on both players 50-50. It sounds like the scouts want Emerson. The front office people, the director of scouting, the GMs, they want Chalosky. And at the end of the day, that wins out.
He just doesn't, have the name that goes with the South Side of Chicago, and with Chalosky, he has the heritage, and I think that's going to play a lot in this because of just the history of the White Sox and the history of the town. I mean, it's that's kind of like what Mendoza was to the Raiders.
Yeah.
With all the fans, and he just happens to be the best player as well.
Yep, and Chicago's director of scouting and GM, they spoke with Chalosky all throughout this week from Monday to Friday. They did not speak with Emerson. Yeah. That was the giveaway. Yeah. And then last night, the comments we saw about Chicago, we're looking at all three guys. He accidentally said subconsciously that we're taking Chalosky without actually saying that. Well, I don't think he realized that when he was being interviewed.
Yeah, it happens, Freudian slips, and all. But
it happens sometimes subconsciously. We think it's the right pick. So again, that they didn't speak with Emerson. They spoke with Chalosky. And here's a note on drafting. Whenever it's draft week, if a team speaks with a player leading up to the draft, and they don't speak with a player, they usually pick the player they speak with if they're picking at number one. Browns with Baker Mayfield, Jaguars with Trayvon Walker are just two examples of that. This is also the first time that Kalshi and DraftKings have disagreed on the first pick. But FanDuel had they had Chalosky at minus 215, and after the Jacob Gonzalez trade to the Pirates last night, which allowed the White Sox to get 34, Well,
Yeah, this is going to be, Chicago's win now thing, because now that they've spent years of rebuilding, and now, like I said, we have the perfect player. This is a team that celebrates heritages
yes.
of
I don't know
Black
what the
heritage,
actual
Mexican
driver
heritage.
is, William, but this has
Yeah,
more positions actually than my NFL Draft Simulator, as hard as it is to believe.
nice.
We have long relievers. Liam Peterson's a projected first-round pick in a lot of mock drafts, but he has an ERA of over 4, and he's only pitched like 4 or 5 innings. Starting pitchers pitch a minimum of 6 innings, William. Usually it's the
Yeah,
long relievers that only pitch 4 to 5 innings. Middle relievers usually pitch 2 innings. So we do have one middle reliever on here. It's Colby Allen. He came in for Southern Miss in the Super Regionals. I have a setup pitcher, too. That setup pitchers usually come during the 8th. Knocked UCLA out of the tournament. Cam Staton is a big UCLA was the number 1 team in the country. So I had to include Cam Staton. I didn't include him in the mock draft, but I did include him in the simulator. Top is Jackson Saucy. Yeah, the tournament, he was phenomenal in that. So yes.
no.
And I reached out to Jonathan Mayo and Jim who is that guy who lives in Pittsburgh, to try to find relievers, but I couldn't get any. He helped me with the DH. I'm grateful for that. He told me about Sasaki, Stanford's Shohei Ohtani, and then I had to find the relievers myself by watching film and watching games on television as they aired. So, but I found some good finds, and it's cool that I was able to add a player at every position. Maybe we'll do this in future years. This is pretty cool that got like every position listed, even the bullpen positions.
Nice.
But yeah, taking Chalowski at 1 in the simulator.
Yes, sir. It's definitely Chalowski, and like I said, man, it fits everything, and maybe it'll be to get us out of the shoeless Joe Jackson curse. I mean, 1919 Black Sox. I mean, that's kind of one of those things, and that's why they're going to take this kid. I mean, some might argue that Emerson, has a higher ceiling, maybe, because he is just a high school player. I mean, he hasn't been to college yet, but still, I mean, like I said, it just makes too much sense at that spot, and I mean, whoever gets Grady Emerson is going to be doing well, very well.
Yeah,
Well.
and I don't think we'll see him off the board on the board very long after number 2. I think the Tampa Bay Rays, they need a shortstop, and yeah, I've got Emerson going second. I know the Rays drafted a shortstop in the first round last year, but people are talking about Grady Emerson like he's Ethan Holiday or Bobby Witt Jr. Ethan Holiday got compared to Bobby Witt Jr. last year, and Bobby Witt Jr. has been very good for the Royals. He was a high school shortstop, and I mean, but they're both on the brink. I think the Rays, they have some guys, but the guy they drafted still in single A, he didn't show enough of a leap. I think if you get a guy in the first round in the top 15, they've got to at least get to double A in order to be safe from being replaced. You get a high school shortstop in last year's draft at like 15, and they don't show they can get to double A in 1 year. You got to take the best player on the board for shortstop at 2.
Yeah, agreed.
And with Emerson, the production's just too good. 7 home runs. Like I feel like Skeeter's hitting home runs that as he gets older, if he adds more power to his But these were the top 2 guys the entire draft process.
Yeah.
So I think you're
Like I said, I
probably
was
going to
talking to
go with
Chalowski when we
Peterson
were
as
last
well.
mentioning it. Yeah. That pretty much covers that area, you know what I mean?
The Rays moved up from number 2 after the. What's crazy is the Rays and the White Sox have the 2 best records in the American League at this juncture, and they've got the first 2 picks of the draft.
Yeah.
But that's what happens when you do an MLB draft lottery and you have 6 lottery draws. Chaos ensues.
Yeah, and just how it went. Like I said, after years of rebuilding, this is Chicago's time to really take off. So
they've gotten 3 number 1 picks in 3 different sports the last 4 years. That Caleb Williams, Connor Bedard, and now Rock Cholowski. And I think Cholowski does have a chance to be the best of that trio. We'll see. I think it's. Yeah. I would. If I had to guess who's the best by 2030, I would guess Cholowski or Williams. Not that Bedard can't turn it around, but 61 points, 64 points, 67 points, and he's had 3 injuries now. So. And the Ducks just paid Leo Carlson $18 million. The guy who was drafted second after Bedard. He was a center too, and he's better defensively than Bedard is. But Bedard's way better offensively. But if Bedard gets like $20 million a year and Caleb Williams gets like $62, $63 million a year, both of those contracts are going to end up age poor. I'm sorry, William. That's just how I feel. I think both players are extremely talented, but both of those could end up being an out down the line.
Yeah, and that's always the thing with quarterbacks is, every quarterback that signs is always, one-upping everyone generally.
Everyone see in the NHL quarterback of your base field.
Yeah.
That is true with the overload with shortstop early. Now, there are MLB scouts that say this is the year of the shortstop with 5 shortstops in the projected top 10 on MLB.com. And there's also people that say it's the year of the catcher. There are a mind-boggling 11 catchers projected to go in the top 200. I have 4 of them on the simulator and 4 of them in the first round. So, again, I'll go back to this tab here, but what's interesting is Emerson's the pick. Back in 2024, after Cleveland took on the betting favorite to first at that time was actually George Tech. Just 2 years. Early top 5s for out of the top. He is now year, and I think Von Lock ended up on 215. He has I have the high I'm looking for a player that can have a minimum of 10 home runs, a minimum of 10 stolen. They over 300 fielding percentage is good, and every box just checks out. And I feel like Cholowski checks more boxes than Emerson, but I don't. I would say Cholowski's a safe bet to be a 5-tool player. Black, I feel like Emerson comes with a little bit more risk, but again, it's Minnesota Twins end up with number 3. Royals end up with number 6. Cleveland Indians fan, I'm a little bit nervous, but it's the what am I missing here with Cholowski? What did he? I don't. Yeah, there are a lot of 5-tool traits. I think with some people are comparing Cholowski to Jeter. There are some people. So then, what is it that keeps him from being a? I don't. Maybe that was what he did as a freshman. I mean, he did improve his home run ability. So I guess there are some 5-tool traits to the college guys, not so much. But yeah, I've heard the year of the shortstop. I've heard the year of the catcher, but I think Von Lackey goes third. We have a catcher who's in a contract year. Ryan Jeffers, he's in a contract year at the end of the season. I'm surprised the Twins haven't tried to shop him.
Yeah, and
there's no guarantee Lockheed's going to be there at 3 either, William. So if you move him in the race, you just screwed yourself.
Yeah, and I was just, thinking about this, and Emerson and Chalowski, it pretty much seemed like a two-man race, with
Yeah.
Lackey coming in third,
Lackey came in third, but he wasn't even the main guy at the beginning of the year. It was Drew Burress, and
Yeah.
Lackey just had a huge year in his draft year and shot up the boards. But he's going to be number 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of mock drafts give the Giants a high and a high school shortstop. If you read my write-up on here, Jung Hoo Lee is under contract till 2030. I guess you could take a center fielder. But Willie Adames is under contract till 2032. Do you really want to wait 6 years for a high school shortstop if you're picking at 4? Like, I like Jacob Lombard, and I understand why MLB put him at 4. Do you really want to wait 6 years for a high school shortstop? I don't, if I'm picking at 4. There are 2 pitchers in this draft, William. 2 pitchers in this draft with ERAs of under 2 that lost 0 games this year. One of those is Mason Edwards of USC, who I've got a late first-round grade on, and the other is Jackson Flora of UC Santa Barbara. Mason Edwards won 8-0 with 8-0 decisions, and Jackson Flora went 11-0. And, Flora had a mind-boggling ERA of, so he went 12-0. His ERA is 1.06. If his ERA was under 1 and the White Sox passed on him, you'd be a little bit pissed. Let's be honest here.
Yeah.
The Giants cannot screw this up. They have to take Jackson Flora at 4. They have 2 good starting pitchers, Roop and Webb. You have 2 pitchers in the state of California with ERAs of under 2 that did not lose a game this year. Pick one of them.
Exactly. You can't really go wrong.
My mom agrees with me, and he's not a big baseball fan. This is very, and if you screw this up, the Pirates are going to pounce on your screw up.
It's as easy as, like June 23rd, the White Sox had Polish Heritage night. I'm sure a lot of them were chanting for Chalowski that night, so this is as easy as that pick,
This pick's a layup.
Grab one of the pickers, man.
I don't have a problem with Eric Booth at 4 because your center fielder's a UFA in 2030, but at the same time, it's like, this pick is a layup. This guy is right in your backyard, and he crushed it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Crap. I see a screw-up somewhere in the write-up. I'm just trying to figure out where the screw-up is. I'm going to fix that right now. And then once I do that,
I saw up top you left K out of Chalowski somewhere, but other than that, I didn't see any screw ups yet.
It was a screw up with Jackson Flora. I'm sorry, William. In 2024, there's no space in between in 2024. It's so finding that line of code and revising it. Yep. But yeah, Flora. I'm gonna go back to the simulator here before I explain pick. I'm going to go back to the simulator here. Okay, the simulator gave William Lackey, which is William and I, so far through 4 picks, we have not disagreed. Eric Booth Jr. is actually pretty interesting. Maybe this is where William and I first disagree, but the Pirates, because Connor Griffin's injured, Connor Griffin, he was drafted in the first round of the 2024 draft.
Yeah.
He's locked up for 9 more seasons, but he's injured. That's why they traded for Jacob Wilson, because the Pirates are uber cheap. Wilson's probably going to be the future backup to Griffin. But the Pirates, they need a center fielder and a right fielder. They've got Brian Reynolds. They've got O'Neal Cruz. Arbitration level 1 is officially kicking in. So arbitration level 1 is kicking in for O'Neal Cruz next year. They've got other guys as well. Joey Bart, the former Giants catcher that was drafted 2nd overall in 2018. You've got Henry Davis. He has started more games at catcher. Spencer Horwitz. I don't think the Pirates ever moved from Horwitz. Nick Gonzalez. Brian Hayes. I think that the Pirates traded Brian Hayes to the Reds, I believe. I think, I remember they moved him last year. I just forgot to edit that. So third baseman is also a need. I'm guessing Jacob Wilson's going to be the Pirates' future third baseman because they already have Connor Griffin at shortstop. But looking at the Pirates, they have a need right fielder and center. If Connor Griffin was a center field goal, but the Pirates moved to shortstop, if you hand a shortstop an 8-year contract after drafting him in high school 2 years ago, you're not drafting another shortstop. This is going to be an outfielder or a pitcher, logistically speaking, and the Pirates have a lot of good starting pitchers, but their bullpen sucks, and you can get bullpen guys later in the draft. The first round is mainly reserved for batters and starting pitchers, and I like Eric Booth Jr. here. He's actually the son of Eric Booth Sr. Eric Booth Sr. turned down being the 34th round pick for Toronto in 1993 to go play college football at Southern Miss. He was both a kick returner and a third-string running back at Southern Miss, Eric Booth Sr. Yeah. So he inherited his father's athletic traits, 1,000 fielding percentage, 11 doubles, 4 triples, 5 home runs. He gets on base consistently, and he has gold glove ability as an outfielder. He also won the Home Run Derby at the Perfect Game All-American Classic last July. And like Grady Emerson, he's the only other high school player that projects as a 20 to 25 home run player in the MLB. And again, with high school players, William, it's about the projection. That is the big thing. Because not out of 10 high school players are not going to hit 10 home runs at age 18. It is about the projection. The projection is basically 20 to 25 home runs is the projection. Okay. That pretty much checks off the objection. So I've got Booth at 5. I mean, if you want to disagree with me just for the sake of disagreeing with me, I could show you the options, other options besides Booth. Booth and Burris are both center fielders. Both of them would be a need for the Pirates. My top right fielder is Sawyer Strasnyder. So the Pirates could go Burris, but I feel like Burris is going to ask for too much money.
Right.
And I like Condon also is going to ask. I love Aiden Robbins, but I don't think the Pirates are going to go that route. I think they're going to take Booth. And I had Booth before Jonathan Mayo switched to Booth because I looked at the roster, I studied the contracts, and that's one of the things I've done recent years with baseball. I studied the lineups, I studied the batting, who has 10 home runs mid-season, what the contracts look like for the batting lineups, the pitching, the bullpen. Pirates, outside of needing to rebuild their bullpen entirely from the ground up, they just need 2 more batters and at center field and right field. And unfortunately, they're still going to have to draft one of those areas in next year's draft, William, before they can really create that championship window with this core. And if you wait another year, it's like you're gonna risk having to pay some guys via arbitration to keep this core intact. And the Pirates are not used to doing that. So, you thinking Booth here at 5, or do you want to take Burris just for the hell of it? I think Booth and Burris are coming off the board at 5 and 6.
Yeah.
I don't know which one.
Give me Burris just to mix it up.
All right.
I think we're pretty much on track that it's going to be, these are going to be the next 2 guys. And
yeah, it's just, Burris was the preseason number 1 pick. Like after 2024, Burris entered his sophomore year as the favorite to go number 1. He was once not only the favorite to go number 1 overall in 2024, he was once the challenger to Rock Chalosky at the end of all players' sophomore seasons. But that's the thing.
I was going to say, I mean, just with the same player being being there, usually college football, the top player in the draft is completely, off track. This guy's down here and
He's a
these
little
guys
bit
showed out.
undersized.
And
I think Eric Booth Jr. 6', 207, Burris 5'9", 185. Burris being smaller than advertised may be why he drops out of the top 5, but he could also go in the top 5 if the Pirates want to play it safe. His nickname is the Home Run King on Georgia Tech. Despite Lackey leading the team in home runs, Burris is nicknamed the Home Run King on Georgia Tech. It is a reference and a tribute to the Tiger King, which was it's a pop culture thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. If the team's on board with it, I'm on board with it. But yeah, that's Burris, and I don't see him getting out of the top 6. But
yeah,
Williams probably going Booth here. What other needs do the Royals have before I lock this pick in? I'm just looking here. They actually can go best player on the board. They don't have any major needs. They can go best player on the board, and Booth and Lombard are both. But the Royals have Bobby Witt Jr., who had the best batting average in Major League Baseball last year, second pick in 2019. Bobby Witt Jr. is under contract until 2038. He got an 11-year extension that began. He signed an 11-year contract extension a while ago. He signed an 11-year extension sometime in 2024, and that extended his contract until 2038. So yeah, he's pretty much a Royal his entire career, unless he retires. That's the only flaw with mocking a shortstop, the Royals. And if you do mock a shortstop, the Royals, he's more than likely converting to third base or second base. And I don't like taking players and putting them out of position, but some MLB teams do because of the traits and because shortstops are basically quarterbacks of the infield. And some teams want to have as many quarterbacks in their infield as possible with the coordination, the fielding.
Yeah.
So
you want to have the fielding, you want to have that athleticism, that's why they talk about.
I'm looking at what's available for the Royals. High school, top college players, Justin LeBron, but the Royals have a good shortstop. Chris Hapopian, I have him to the Rockies at 10. Cameron Flukie, he missed most of this year with an injury, but he took Coastal Carolina to the College World Series, where they lost in the championship to LSU. So just looking at the Royals at 5, they do have some interesting options. But ultimately, I think Booth or Lackey, whoever they end up picking, will end up winning out, more than likely.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're going to go Booth here. I don't think you're enthusiastic about a lot of the options for the Royals at 6.
Yeah, I'm not. This is one of those things where they're going to have to make a judgment call, Yeah,
and they can go. They don't really have any immediate needs, so they're just going to have to take the top guy on their board.
That's exactly what they're going to have to do, because it just.
The thing with this draft is there's like 7-star players that headline the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Booth is one of them, and then after Booth, you have Lombard. And after those 7, a lot of scouts have a massive drop-off. But from 7, after the top 7, a lot of scouts are souring on this draft. But there's good talent all throughout the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, this year. So.
Oh, yeah. There's talent, to be had, but as a team, I don't like being in this position so much to where you're just kind of depending on what's left over,
but you're not enthusiastic about it. All right, fair enough. Orioles have number 7. I'm going to Jacob Lombard here. There are some people that have Lombard at 3rd. I love Gunnar Henderson. He had 37 home runs one year. The problem is Gunnar Henderson's a UFA in 2029. If you take a high school shortstop, usually high school shortstops need 4 years to develop, but if you're a really good high school shortstop, you could get to the MLB in 3 years. And if you're an exceptional shortstop like like the holidays, or you could like the holidays or Lombard, not Lombard necessarily, but the holidays or Brady Emerson, you can get to the MLB in 2 years out of high school. I think Lombard can be up on the Orioles by 2029, right when Gunnar Henderson becomes a UFA, and I don't think the Orioles are going to have the money to pay Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah.
They also got to pay Adley Rutschman, who they took #1 overall over Bobby Witt Jr. in 2029. And the Orioles are a small market team, so they paid Pete Alonso, the former Mets first baseman out of Florida, but they don't have a lot of building blocks. And now the Orioles, because at one point a few years ago, the Orioles looked like they could be the team that runs the MLB for a few years until Rutschman became a UFA. But now it just looks like the Orioles are going to end up having to blow everything up and continue their rebuild. That's the one disadvantage these cheaper franchises have. But yeah, I think Lombard at 7 is probably their pick. They could go with a pitcher as well. They only have one good pitcher. But I went with Lombard. He's consensus 4th best player. A lot of people are mocking to the Giants. But logistically, if Lombard's the 4th best player in the draft, this is the one team that needs a shortstop, and they have to take him. And yeah, he's the youngest son of George Lombard. He's also the younger brother of Yankees prospect George Lombard Jr. So I went with Lombard here. But yeah, the Orioles are on the clock at 7. I mean, it's Lombard. You're looking at Gio Rojas.
Yeah.
You got Justin LeBron of Alabama, who is not a great 300 batter, but he can hit home runs consistently. He got Alabama to the College World Series in Omaha this year. You got Ryder Helfrich if you want to replace Adley Rutschman, but they got a catcher in the first round of last year's draft. Cameron Fluke, he took he missed most of this year with an injury, but he took Coastal Carolina to the championship game where they lost to LSU in 2025 in his sophomore year. And Joey and I were talking about Fluke a lot heading into that College World Series in 2025 last year. So there are a few options for Baltimore at 7 here.
I think Fluke's a good choice.
All right. William's going Fluke here. So pitcher 2 comes off the board at 7. I like that. So I have Fluke at 11, but hey, this to each their own. And Gio Rojas, Athletics are another team. They've got really good batters, okay? Nick Kurtz was my favorite player in 2024. I basically said, Nick Kurtz, he defends like Keith Hernandez, and he hits home runs like Mark McGwire. That's what I said about him in 2023 when I first began scouting him. And he had 36 home runs in 2025 as a rookie. Yeah, I know he had a down year in his draft year, but gets called up after a year and he ends 2025 with 36 home runs. He looks like the best player in the draft, even if Bazana ends up being good for Cleveland. He looks like the best player, so my initial evaluation ended up being correct. And Jacob Wilson, another guy, son of former Pirates shortstop Jack Wilson, Zach Jaloff. I love the Athletics batting lineup. If they can figure out a way to keep this core together, they will be a playoff team. They've got JT Ginn, who's posted a 2.87 ERA and 10 starts. They're mainly just the Athletics, but until they relocate to Las Vegas, until the new stadium's done, they're playing in Sacramento until 2028. So I'm calling them the Sacramento Athletics until 2028 because every team, I think, it should be required to have a city, even if that city is temporarily. I know they're just the Athletics. I know the ownership just refers to them. It's goofy. It just doesn't look good. I'm going to refer to them as the Sacramento Athletics until they go to Vegas. But yeah, I'm looking at this thing here. But yeah, there's a lot of good batters.
Yeah.
I think Jamie Arnold from Florida State might be your future #1 starter, but he could be a #2 guy as well. They do need pitchers though, and I think this is either Fluke or Rojas. I think Rojas is interesting because he Rojas went 4-0 as a, went 11-1 this year, 13-0 as a junior. He's led Stoneman Douglas to 6 consecutive state championships. He back to back. It says back like Chris Berman instead of back to back. Yeah, like
I think this is going to be
prime Chris Berman. But yeah, 3 consecutive state championships in Florida. He has some good pitches. I went Rojas here.
I was going to say,
to be a number 1 starter, just like Jackson Flora, the top college pitcher, just from a trait standpoint with that fastball, the slider. He has 3 pitches, which is pretty rare for a high school pitcher. Kind of raw, but it's pretty rare to find a guy that wins 3 consecutive state championships in high school. And to do it in Florida, of all states, which is a super competitive state. I've said for years in high school sports, California, Texas, and Florida are probably the 3 most competitive states when it comes to high school sports in general, William. But maybe I'm wrong on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Florida, I think
this
Florida's
is
at least 5th at worst, but you could argue they're as high as 3rd. I don't think they're as competitive as Texas or California, but I definitely think they're up there. Like, they're somewhere in that top 5, between 5 and 3. So to win 3 consecutive state titles, what are you thinking here for the Athletics at number 8? I'll go back to the simulator here. Rojas and Lombard, they've got Wilson, though. I don't think the Athletics need a shortstop. They've got Jalal. And, I mean, they could go Hunter Dietz. He's got pretty good size. Arkansas starting pitcher.
It's between a pitcher and Rojas.
They could go Mason. I have Mason the USC's got a pitcher that went undefeated. So does UCLA. There's a lot of good players though in this draft. I'm thinking.
Give me the one with a couple different pitches that you were just talking about.
Starting pitchers. Let me pull up the starting pitcher button on the simulator here.
All right.
Okay. No, Coleman, you're not guaranteed to be the pick. So Rojas, we've got Hunter Dietz, Brody Brumilla from Bishop Feehan, that is in Massachusetts. Bishop Feehan has maybe one of the best logos for high school baseball. I mean, a lot of these high school baseball logos are pretty ridiculous, but here we've got a leprechaun on steroids that looks like he's about ready to put the Notre Dame mascot into a coma. It's like if you took the Lucky Charms guy and groundskeeper Willie, and they had a child. This is what the child of the Lucky Charms guy and groundskeeper Willie of The Simpsons would look like. That exact logo. I love it. Yeah, I know that's not the best reference, but yeah, Brody Bumilla is pretty good. Carson Bowman. Keegan Coons is decent, but he gave up. He just laid an egg against Virginia Commonwealth in the College World Series. Cole Carlin, he gave up 8 runs to Ole Miss. Logan Redeman had arm fatigue back in April, so there's questions about him. Mason Edwards, the other pitcher I told you about, he went 8-0. He had an ERA of under 2, had 8-0 decisions in 16 starts. But he did finish the season undefeated. Maybe I'm lower on Mason Edwards. Maybe I do think if he goes in the top 10, it's going to be to a team like the Giants or the Athletic on an underslot deal. I think there is a chance he goes in the top 10, but if he doesn't, he'll probably fall to the end of the first round. But, yeah, those are your pitching options. And I'm guessing with Carlton and Coons playing horrible in their tournament games, it's going to be Redeman, Edwards, or the high school pitcher, or the Arkansas pitcher. Those are the 4 you've narrowed it down to, but you're still thinking a little bit.
Give me the winner, the one that won three championships.
3 consecutive state championships. Gio Rojas. I like that. We both have it 8.
Rojas, yeah.
Okay. I went with Justin LeBron to the Braves at 9. I thought Atlanta's World Series window closed because the Braves, after they won the World Series in 2021, people kept talking about how they were a complete team for years. Then they lost Ozuna to the Pirates. Their right fielder Ronald Acuna Jr. is great when he's healthy, but the problem is he has not been able to stay healthy. He's dealt with injuries the past 2 years, and I'm at the point where I just don't know if I can trust him. And all of a sudden, the Braves have the best record in Major League Baseball this year, and they got the 9th pick in the draft. It's crazy. Like I don't remember a draft where the best AL and the best NL team both picked in the top 10. It's nuts. But yeah, Atlanta's bullpen's pretty strong. They can go best player on the board, start at shortstop, starting pitcher, or long reliever. I went Alabama's Justin LeBron. He took Alabama to the College World Series. 42 stolen bases this year. That's second among players. The only player with more stolen bases is Jim Tomei's son, who's a high school third baseman. So, again, and they did draft a shortstop in round 1 last year, but it was a high school shortstop. College shortstops are safer bets. And honestly, I just think Justin LeBron is going to be the pick for... He is. I think Justin LeBron is going to be the pick for... I think Justin LeBron's the pick for the Braves here at 9, but they can go any route, and there's really not a bad pick for the Braves. Let me go back to the top of the board, William. Oh, let's go to all. Yeah. So in your scenario, Jacob Lombard, who's somehow in the top 5, fell to 9. So this is interesting here. So the Braves could take LeBron, but they could also take another high school shortstop. Or if they don't take shortstops in consecutive years, let's scroll down. Hapakoian is a second baseman. I'm looking here to see what the contract status is with the Braves. Second, Ozzie Albies is under contract until 2028. If you draft the second baseman from Texas A&M, who I mocked the Rockies, if you give the Braves him, he will probably be up by the time Ozzie Albies is a UFA if you let Albies walk and you pay Ronald Acuna Jr., which I think the Braves will end up doing. Obviously, they need to keep both players, but I also feel like they may end up losing one of those 2 players. If they extend Albies, Acuna's gone, and I think if they have to choose between those 2, they're going to pick Acuna. Because this guy, when he's healthy, he is money. Like, he had 41 home runs, 73 stolen bases when he was fully healthy in 2023. A historically good season. I don't know how you're not letting that guy walk out the door. So.
Agreed.
But for the Braves, left fielder. What's the Braves left fielder? Who's the Braves have at left fielder? Mike Yastrzemski. He bats 8th in this lineup. He's got a nice contract, but he's nothing special. You could draft Curiel out of LSU and maybe upgrade over Yastrzemski if you think that's an option. He did win a championship at LSU last year as a freshman. So there are some good options for the Atlanta Braves at... What do the Braves have at catcher? I'm just checking. Drake Baldwin, he took the starting catcher job from Sean Murphy, and he's not a UFA until 2031. So, yeah, I don't think the Braves are going to draft a catcher here. I do think it's a great catcher draft. Don't get me wrong. You've got 2 good catchers, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to to upgrade at that position specifically.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to where the falling stop grab Lombard here.
Well, so what are you thinking, William? Because the number 7, number 9, 3 of my top 10 are still on the board, and Derek Curiel, best player available pick for the Braves.
Yeah.
And they top guy on their board.
That's one thing, that's going to depend a lot on the team here. So
I agree. I went with LeBron at 9, but they could go Lombard as well. Lombard is related to a former MLB leaguer, George Lombard Sr. and George Lombard Jr.
sounds right. Yeah, grab Lombard here, man.
Yeah.
Well, spend too much time overthinking.
Yeah.
Overthinking it.
All right. Number 10, I went with Chris Hapo, the end of the Rockies. Their main need in terms of the batting lineup is at second. They have a lot of guys locked up. They do. They've got a lot of core guys locked up. Brenton Doyle, 23 home runs. They got Ezekiel Tovar. They do need pitching, but they've got former Cub Mickey Moniak, first overall pick in 2016. Hunter Goodman at catcher. Their batting is actually a lot better than I thought it would. They're only in the batting lineups at second baseman, and they do have some prospects like Drew Romo, 2020 first-round pick at catcher, and he's the backup catcher. Charlie Condon, a Georgia outfielder that they took in the first round, and they got Ethan Holiday last year. So I do like the future they're building, but they only have one good pitcher. Chase Stollinger, their 2023 first-round pick out of Tennessee. It is take the Texas A&M second baseman or take a pitcher. And with the altitude in Colorado and with Colorado's farm system just being terrible in general, taking a batter works out more often than taking a pitcher. And Chris Hapo, CN, he started out at Maryland. He transferred to Texas A&M in 2026. 6'1", 210, 319 batting average, 11 home runs, 990 fielding percentage. He only had one error in 42 games with Texas Tech. Only one error in 42 games with Texas A&M. I said Texas Tech by accident. Yeah, I mean, we were previewing the Big 12 on TikTok last night. So I went with the Texas Tech second baseman. I'm gonna pull up the second baseman. I'm gonna pull up the pitchers.
Do that
for the Rockies here before we lock in Justin or who's the next? Landon Tomei. I have Landon Tomei as a third baseman. I accidentally typed second baseman on the simulator. I will fix that. I will fix that. Okay, Landon Tomei can play third base or second base. He's Jim Tomei, and in addition to that, he is not only is he Jim Tomei's kid, he led all players with 49 stolen bases, and he had 50 stolen base attempts. So he was only calling if you landed because everyone has landed. I said Landon Tomei is going to move into the first round. I look like a genius. MLB actually has him at 34, 3 spots higher than I do. But let me tell you about this Landon Tomei guy. I know I have him in third in my mock draft. I'll change that for 1 p.m. today, William. But let me tell you about this Landon Tomei, because this is one of the few guys in this draft outside the top 30 that I genuinely pound the table for. 6'1", 185. He is the son of former Cleveland Indians first baseman Jim Tomei. Third base and second base are his two main positions. He can play first base and DH too, but Jim Tomei, he said this guy, he had a 6'8",
Jim
9
Tomei's a legend,
dash.
man. Yeah,
Jim Tomei played 22 years in the MLB. Jim Tomei said this is the fastest player in the draft, the best. And this is the guy in the draft that could challenge Jose Ramirez to be the best base stealer. 3.1 grade point average. Jim Tomei called him a better base stealer than himself, and the best base stealer might be the only guy who could challenge Jose Ramirez to be Cleveland's top base stealer. When both Tomeis were interviewed on MLB Network, former Houston Astros catcher Scott Lawler, the head coach at Bennett Academy, called Landon Tomei a one-man wrecking crew by himself. He plays the game the right way. His character's through the roof. He tutored kids at Chicago elementary schools. Let me tell you, if he develops his power, if he develops 70% of his dad's power, 50% of what Jose Ramirez has done with Cleveland, he's going to be the biggest steal of the draft.
Yeah.
When I say that, I mean he's going to be an Aaron Judge type steal in the back end of the first round. Is William bold enough to mock Jimmy Tomei's son at 10? I feel like I've talked him into it. I mean,
and see, the thing is, this is baseball, and Jim Tomei's a legend, and this isn't like football.
We're getting old.
Where Deion Sanders
when kids in the MLB draft, that is proof we're getting old.
This isn't where Deion Sanders gets with some supermodel and then wonders why his kids are having a hard time playing not in his system. This is baseball.
And the college Tomei got into, if he falls to the second, is Florida State. I think if Landon Tomei does not go in round 1, he's just going to go to Florida State, 5 pick in 3 years from now.
Exactly. And I think this absolutely, this is one of those kids that we talked about was raised for this.
Cholowski in 2029, if he falls to round 2, really could be, William. If he falls to round 2, and he goes to Florida State, we are potentially being Rock Cholowski in 2029 at second base.
Exactly. So yeah, definitely give me Tomei here. I'll take that. Every day of the week in the day that they play baseball. Generally.
Yeah, I mean Nazareth Academy Roadrunners.
Twice on
Saturday. The Roadrunner looks like Falco from Star Fox. I just realized.
From Star Fox, dude. I haven't heard that reference enough. Dude.
That's what I love. I love these high school baseball logos. They're so unique and different from the college logos. And I can make pop culture references if I see something that stands out with the logo. That's why making pop culture references about high school logos versus college logos is more fun, my personal opinion. But yeah, let's get to number 11 here in the mock draft. Let me pull up Williams. So Williams got Landon Tomei at 10, Jacob Lombard at 9. We go to Washington, D.C. I went Cameron Flukie. Obviously, Cameron Flukie, I think, will be off the board by 11. This is a team that actually needs They need a starting pitcher. They traded in the trade that sent. They traded a player to the Padres, and they got. But right now, the Nationals. They have the number 1 pick. They turned down Kate Anderson, who led LSU to a college World Series as number 1 starter. I think they have to take Cameron Flukie, but he off the board. But what does Washington have as building blocks? You have Abrams, Dylan Cruz, left fielder James, Cade Cavalli, a young bullpen. Cade Cavalli. Cade Cavalli, you got Washington's 2020 first round pick. He's taken. Foster's good, so you've got a number 1, number 2 starter. But yeah, Foster Griffin's a UFA after this year, and he might be moved at the trade deadline. And look, I don't like the fact that Flukie had a bad ERA, but you have to dominate for Coastal Carolina. They made the championship as an underdog, which was a pretty good feel-good story. I do think Flukie. You think he's going to go in the top 10, and this is a player Joey and I have been talking for a while, but you've already had Flukie on your board, so I'm kind of curious what's going to happen here. Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I reloaded the site, so it's I want to make sure I'm on the right spot, and then we'll go back to the simulator here. Here we go.
Okay.
Now we're back, and the Washington Nationals took a high school shortstop number 1 overall, so they're not going to draft Justin LeBron. We'll move down on the simulator here.
Yeah.
Owen could be an option. So could Derek Carril. I'm looking at the options they do have in their prospect pool. I'm looking at the batting lineup. You've got
Derek fucking Carril.
Abrams. You've got Eli Willix. The Nationals took the 13th player at 1 pick last year. Even if the White Sox take Grady Emerson, to screw up as badly as the Nationals did last year. They took the 13th player first. That is worse than taking Caleb Williams at 1. You could argue that's like taking Shadur at 1 over Cam Ward, William. You could legitimately sorry. Not bad. Maybe that's worse than taking player 1. I don't know.
Give me just so I can say it like the movie Blow. Derek fucking for real.
Derek
is that how you say
it? Cruz. That sounds very catchy. It sounds like a jingle.
Right.
The Angels are on.
Had to do it.
Yeah, I gave it at 12. Speaking of Kirill, here for more information about him. Pretty unique. To right field and Kirill, he had 1,000%, 7 home runs. The College World Series. Gordon Williams thing. So Trails off in a rare, unique position. Looking at the Angels, Kirby Yates, they got a setup pitcher with a 3.15 ERA. I don't know. Yeah, clearly I screwed up a little bit. Not a lot. Chase Illith, Ryan, they've got some guys. The bullpen's actually better than I thought it would be. I more. I thought the Tennessee second baseman would base. He'll probably place Anthony Rendon at third base. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens here with the Angels, because I think the Angels are in an interesting spot. Obviously, looking at the contracts here, the batting lineup here, Nito, 2030, Logan O'Hoppe. Logan O'Hoppe is arbitration level 1, but Mike Trout, best fantasy baseball player at 1 point, 2031. Nolan Schnottel is not in arbitration until 2027. Joe Adell, 2027. Anthony Rendon will be replaced. They'll reload him. And then Logan O'Hoppe, he's not a UFA till 2029. Could be. I'm thinking Williams going to go with I'm guessing Williams going to go with a catcher. The reason the Angels have a catcher, and Ryder Helfrich is just an awesome name. I have him going 1 pick later. I've got a feeling Helfrich's the guy. I could be wrong on this. But I'm
that works. No, that works.
Looking at their,
I'm trying to do well for all the teams. So yeah, I think this one works.
Helfrich. Speaking of Helfrich is well. Speaking of Helfrich, I've got the Cardinals picking him, and Joey's. His dad was a Cardinals fan. His mom was a Cubs fan. So yeah, he's a Guardians fan now, Cleveland fan, because he likes all the Cleveland teams. League. We'll get to Cleveland at 19 in just a little bit here. But yeah, Ryder Helfrich, I think they just need a lot of batters. And St. Louis has lost that they had a franchise from back in the day. And they just gave J.J. Weatherholt Yeah, J.J. Weatherholt got an 8-year extension. He was once in the running to go to Cleveland. But yeah, they have gotten out of control, man. But yeah, Helfrich. I will. I didn't think there were as many errors I thought there would be. But yeah, we're live on TalkShoe. Dang, it's like this is okay. 40 picks. There are, and let me see here. Dang. Like, the site is only showing. Is the site only showing the first 10 picks? I guess I'm going to have to reload it again. Dang. Okay, now it's back to normal. And then we'll load the simulator again, and I'll change Lane and Tommy to third base, because I have him as a third baseman, but he can play third or second. I guess accidentally typing second over third, keys are right next to each other, isn't a big deal since he can play both positions. But yeah, Ryder Helfrich, 47 runs. Dang it, 2 1 in runs. I'm a perfectionist when it can. So yeah, if I mistype something by accident, I'm going to 15 home runs. And then, so these last 2 years, Helfrich's a guy that I think is going to go in the first round. And, right now, I would argue, but William just Helfrich at 12. So the batters that I'm looking here. Shortstop, you have stability. You have DH, you have stability at second base. You have stability at right fielder, but outside of those 4 batters, you have no identity. You got a lot of work to do if you're the Cardinals. And so LeBron's probably not going to be the pick, and Capo is probably not going to be the pick either. Hunter Dietz is an option. Arkansas pitcher, teammate of Helfrich. Ace Reese could be an option at third base if you want another batter. I love the Bishop theme.
Weapons are always good.
What?
Weapons are always good.
Ace Reese is just an awesome name, too.
Yeah. Let's see.
I'm looking. Hard to mean a lot of batters. I'm a big fan of Aiden Robbins. I mocked him to Cleveland at 19, 6'2", 205. He was the Big East player. He led the Big East in batting average at Seton Hall, has versatility to play all 3 outfielder. He played left fielder as a freshman at Seton Hall, right fielder as a sophomore, and he moved to center fielder this year. I have Robbins. He had like 12 stolen bases and 20 home runs. Daniel Jackson, the Georgia catcher, had 31 home runs. So if the Angels take Helfrich, possibly the Cardinals at the team still want a catcher. Catcher that draft the top at 13. 31 home runs is a lot for he'd make a College World Series. So it's possible Jackson. I have him at 20. Most Jackson in the late first round in the early 30s. I don't think he's going to make it that far. Jackson's out of the and if Helfrich comes off the board at 12, it's possible Jackson jumps up to 13. With this being a year for the catcher draft, that run on catchers going, because it's going to be, Lackey's going to be the first catcher off the board, then Helfrich's going to go, then who's going to be the third catcher? The third catcher's more than likely going to be Daniel Jackson, who had 31 home runs, but how early without reaching for it? There's a long hit 31 home runs, which is more than his draft. So, he took Georgia to Hall for Lackey season. So, if you liked it, if you loved it, I don't think that's a reach at 13, considering this is a strong catcher draft with 11 in the top 200 and 4 in the first round. So, and the Cardinals do need help at that position. I'll give you a few more options. Grassi is a center fielder. Doesn't hit with a lot of power. Zion Rose is a good left fielder. But these are guys in the late first round. I've got the board at 56. But, yeah, what are you thinking here? This is a tough pick for the Cardinals.
Yeah, for sure.
Shared the simulator. That's but yeah, I think go LeBron or Hapo Pio, and Ace Reese could be an option. 6'4".
Yeah.
That's a great name, but I think it's Reese, Robin, or I think it's either going to be Reese, Robbins, maybe Bowman, high school pitcher. He does have good size. Or
Let's go with Reese, man.
All right. So Ace Reese at 13. We'll try to move a little bit faster here. Let me check my checks. It's 10:08. Let me see. Let's see what we got. Okay. He did get my text. He's going to show at 1. But if I guess he's going to show on Facebook. He's not probably nearby. But yeah, let me get the Marlins. I gave the Marlins Hunter Dietz, the Arkansas pitcher here. They can go. Miami's batters and bullpen are better than I anticipated, and I basically said if the Marlins make the playoffs, it's going to be because of the starting rotation, and the starting rotation they need one more starter. They only have 4 good starters. You need that 5th pitcher, and I think Hunter Dietz, best pitcher on the board. This just makes a lot of sense for the Marlins here. And I'm guessing Williams. What do the Marlins have at shortstop and second base? Let me see here.
Yeah.
I'm checking. They've got Otto Lopez and then Xavier Edwards, who are their 2 best players, so they're not going to go with one of the top 10 players. So Hunter Dietz logistically makes the most sense for them. Or they could take a high school player. I don't think they're going to take a high school pitcher with it's possible they go Carson Bowman, or but I think logistically the Marlins are going to Coleman Borthwick could be an option too. 6'6", 255, South Walton High School, right in the Marlins' backyard. That could be an option too. But Borthwick, maybe because he's in state, or Dietz, I'd say, are probably the Marlins' options at 14. Here in Arkansas, good size.
Yeah, probably Dietz.
I'm going with number 15. I gave the Diamondbacks a 3rd baseman. I went Ace Reese here. They have immediate needs at catcher, left fielder, starting pitcher, long reliever, and a 3rd baseman to groom behind Nolan Arenado. I went with the 3rd baseman here. 21 home runs as a sophomore, 24 home runs as a junior. Ace Reese, great name, really good power hitter. Very consistent player. His batting average dropped, but his home runs and his runs him great size as well. And long short are the Diamondbacks going to take a high school pitcher out of Massachusetts? I logistically, I don't know do that. Robbins could be. Are we really going back to the top of the pace? This is starting to piss me off. Restream.
Oh, no.
I want to reload my write-ups. But yes, left fielders in need. Aiden Robbins can play all 3 positions in the outfield. But because he was a center fielder at Texas, I have him listed as a center fielder. 24 home runs, 12 stolen bases. He was a left fielder at Seton Hall, and then he moved to right fielder as a sophomore, where his fielding improved. Robbins can play all 3 outfielder roles, so William might go Aiden Robbins here for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
That definitely sounds like a player that they'd be comfortable with.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the, he's got that many tools, I mean, can.
Yes, so Aiden
Make it
Robbins. So 2 players in the top 10 still on the board here in Williams' thing. And then I gave the Texas Rangers Tyler Bell. Brian, who's a huge Texas Rangers fan, he told me that they will if there's a college shortstop in the top 10, whether it's a Justin LeBron or Tyler Bell, they will take him and groom him to be their future shortstop.
Makes sense.
Like, they've got Corey Seager, but Seager, there's rumors about him being traded. His contract runs through 2032. It's sounding like Seager's not going to finish that contract in Texas. There's also rumors the Dodgers could get him back this year. Question 1. You're going LeBron here because he's the best player on the board. It's time for him to come off the board.
Yep. Gotta follow somewhere.
And then the Astros, I went with Brody Bumilla. His Astros batters under. The reason the Astros have regressed is mainly due to the fact that they only have like 2 good starting pitchers. They lost Framber Valdez to the Detroit Tigers, and they've got if Lance McCullers Jr. is healthy, and they're going to need a number 4 starter next year, and they're going to need a number 5 starter. So I went with basically Houston's low. The bullpen's pretty good too, outside of long relievers. So left fielder, starting pitcher, and long reliever of the. If Houston positions 2-year window there in Texas, best player on my board was with the 0.6 takeouts, only 7 walks. Gatorade High School player, the Massachusetts. He's shown he can pitch 6 to 7 innings. He has 2 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, decent slider and changeup, but those will need refinement. So I went with Brody Bumilla to the Astros here. But again, I'm kind of curious what's Altuve's contract look like? I'm looking because Jose Altuve's been with the Astros for years. Are we at the point where he's been with the Astros since like 2011? So this is his 15th year with the Astros. Are we at the point, William, where the Astros need to get his successor? If he's been with the team since 2011 when they were in a complete rebuild and his contract through 2030, are we at the point where they got to draft his successor?
Yeah, I think so.
Because Jose Altuve made the Astros major league team in 2011. He's still with the Astros 15 years later. So I would say at a certain point you have to start looking at a successor for a certain player. And Hapo Keown could be the successor on the board.
Yeah, it only makes sense, man.
So, well, an ideal need. Not as high in I've seen him as high in of picks. So, Tyson Witherspoon was a pitcher at Oklahoma. So, I need to change that write-up. I need to change the write-up at the top and reload the page because I'm pretty certain that this is let me look at the simulator here. Trevor Condon. So just change that on the site, not on the simulator. You got it right up, Trevor Condon. I have Trevor Condon as the Reds at 18. This is a best available player pick. A lot of stability at certain spots. I just think the Reds, I'm trying to think of where their weaknesses are. But TJ Friedel, your lead good FA in 23. They're not going to sign him. Obtain some long-term guy. But Matt if they have to choose between Friedel and McLean, they're 20. I would imagine. So they could go with a first baseman too, but it's kind of a weak first baseman draft. And I'm thinking the Red take, if they have to choose between Friedel and McLean, they'll choose McLean. They'll let Friedel walk and develop him because players sometimes 3 years to develop versus college players who only need 2 years in the minors. But yeah, Condon with 4 years, he'll have enough time to develop, and then you can plug him in and reload with Friedel. So I went Condon here. The pitching, they've got pitchers they drafted high, but in horror the Reds. But I went with average one game state championship at 6A is high school sport. What do we do with the Reds here at 18? Bamilla's an option if they want pitching. Trevor Condon's option is a Daniel. The Reds starting catcher is a UFA. Tyler Stevens in 2015 he's a UFA in 2027. So if they don't want to keep Tyler Stevenson, he hit 19 home runs in 2024. First round pick. He's been with the Reds for years, but is Tyler Stevenson a trade target? And Daniel Jackson hit 31 home runs. I think that's the most of any player in the draft. I'm just looking at the size for Stevenson. Tyler Stevenson 6'3", 220. This, but 7th overall. He is 29 years old. He turns 30 in August. 30, when a player turns 30, he gets a decline in baseball. But that's usually ends to take 5 is. I don't like plateau completely, but sure. Daniel Jackson 31 home runs. The Reds have traded for a pick yet. They may want to sign him. Daniel Jackson 31 home runs is an option. Condon knocked the Reds is also an option. Bumilla is an option if they're pitching, long-term pitching project. But yeah,
give me the pitcher, man.
Bumilla, okay. The Reds are going to go Bumilla. And Cleveland and Boston have the next few picks. I just got your text. I've been skipping out. I can't understand what you're saying. I'll check the audio.
I think it's
right
just
okay, the audio,
having a hard time catching up.
Okay, Joe has joined, and right in time, Cleveland's on the clock, Joey. So how long have you been here, man? How long have you been here? Sorry about that. Have you been here? I hope I didn't make you wait. I think he went to.
Joey.
Did I make you wait too long, buddy? It's good to see you, Ben.
Oh, I've been here about an hour.
Okay, sorry. I didn't even know you were in the background. That's on me.
What's up?
So, yeah.
I'm alive.
I went Aiden Robbins here. William took him at 15. But yeah, Bazana, we've been here at 19. I do like Cleveland. They're in a great spot. Short term, long term, the bullpen looks great. I went with Texas is I have 10. I mentioned 10 players that Cleveland could draft. Chris Hoppo, PN, 14th overall. On MLB.com, I mocked him at 10. Aiden Robbins, I like him a lot more than the consensus. He can play all three outfielder roles. Jim Tome's son, Landon Tome, he can play second base and third base, 49 stolen bases, 3.71 GPA. Jim Tome said he's the one guy who could challenge Jose Ramirez. William took him at 10, though. Carson Bowman, high school pitcher, still on the board, had a lot of success. The top two college pitchers, they choked in big games. Daniel Jackson's an option here, I think, because mainly this is considered the year of the catcher. Hedges is a UFA, and both of Cleveland's catchers are 20-30 UFAs, Bailey and Fry. They are both 20-30 UFAs. So if you want to draft, and Cooper Ingle, he did make his debut, 2023 draft pick. Batting average was below 100, though. UCLA's Logan Redmond went undefeated with a 2.87 ERA. Oh, and the USC pitcher Mason Edwards, he had an ERA of under 2. He went 8-0 as well. That's one more name to throw out there. And if you want bullpen guys, Gridlinger and Florida's Liam Peterson are both really good bullpen options. I have second-round grades on them, but they're in a great spot. Cleveland's got a lot
Here's the bottom line. Cleveland has one of the most diverse lineups, and they have one of the most diverse teams in baseball. They have constantly 6-7 guys in and out of the lineups, all different positions, from Fry to Schneemann, all over the place. Gabriel Arias, shortstop, second base, Quan, center field, left field. They've got a pretty nice catcher now. He's getting big hits and not great average-wise, but big hits. And he's playing superb
I'll give
defense.
Bailey credit turning things around because his batting average was under 200 on the San Francisco Giants. He's a great defensive catcher, but his batting average was under 200 on the Giants. So Cleveland trades 29 to get him. And he's got his batting average above 200 in Cleveland. He's not great, but I'll give him credit for turning things around with the Guardians.
Yeah, he's getting the hits when they matter. And when it comes to a team like Cleveland, the big problem they have is getting hits with runners in scoring position. So if he's getting the hits when they matter, that's the important part because they need more guys that can do that. Not the overall, outlook. He's hitting a pressure point that they need taken care of. Same thing with Brian Rocchio. The reason they have him in the 9th position is because he's seen as a second leadoff hitter, but from the back of the lineup. So if he is up first, that can go right back into Bazana, because that's kind of why they've got Quan where he is, because once again, another leadoff hitter back the lineup. So now when you're going through the lineup, you have a chance to lead off with an actual leadoff hitter.
Yep.
So it is a good strategic move. And I think right now the big problem they have is center field because Quan can't do left and center.
I know they took James
Guardians
my preseason number 1 pick, and he's close to getting a double-A. But the reason I went Aiden Robbins, he can play all 3 outfielder spots. Played left fielder as a freshman, captained his high school baseball team, played right fielder as a sophomore at Seton Hall, led the Big East in batting average, and then he transfers to Texas in the portal this year, and he just freaking took off at center fielder. 24 home runs, 12 stolen bases. He led Texas in the College World Series. So for me, Robbins I want if he's there at 19. Unfortunately, he showed ability. Unfortunately, he's gone Williams Simulator here. I will show you what William here. Trevor Connon isn't bad. Tyler Bell's available, the Kentucky player who's number 10 on MLB.com. He's available, but I'll show you what William did.
Well, with Rocchio right now, it's like Rocchio has been playing at least like a Silver Glover, and he is the most clutch hitter on the Guardians this season. So I am not even thinking about getting rid of him because it looks like he's finally
Yeah.
starting to come into his
And I
own.
got these
So
for like
if
bullpen options,
Lozana-
long reliever
and then-
setup. I probably should have probably added more bullpen guys, but I didn't watch enough college baseball this year to get in depth with that. But yeah, Rojas, Lombard went to the Braves. I'm showing you Williams picks. Landon Tomei can play third base or second base. But yeah, I have him at 37 in my mock draft. I said back in May when MLB had a mid to late second on him, there's no way he's dropping to round 2. Jim Tomei said he's the one guy who could challenge Jose Ramirez if he fell to Cleveland. 49 stolen bases. That is the most of any player in the country, high school or college. And he stolen bases, and he was 4 for 50.
I was here while you were going over.
That's a guy at power table for Kirill, Helfrich.
Yeah, I've been here a while, Chris. I've listened to all of them so far.
Said you've been here a while.
It's but the big thing is that I'm looking at right now with the Guardians, Manzardo. The reason his stats are as low as they are is because his first month and a half was historically horrific.
Jansen hit
but he has come up in a big way.
The Red Sox need a catcher too, and they're on deck.
And
does Cleveland decide to take Jackson to screw the Red Sox over?
I do like Daniel Jackson.
Most have him in the late 30s. I don't think he's going to be there in the late 30s.
I actually don't think the center field position's as bad as people say it is. They've got a young guy, played earlier.
They've got
Jace Laviolette, that looks like he is going to be a gold glove center fielder. The guy looks like he's going to be a gold glove center fielder.
Angel something. They've got Angel something.
Angel's not. He's a utility player. But he's good in center field. But no, this is a guy who came up for like 10 games.
11 home runs, 7.
Yeah, he came up for like 10 games and was sent back down. He's not a great hitter, but he looks like he's got gold glove potential at center field. So I would actually look at catcher because that is a big point of contention long term.
Both catchers.
Bailey is.
Yeah, you're right, Joe.
Bailey's good short term.
Both catchers are 20-30 UFAs, and your backup catcher is a UFA next year, and then the other 2 catchers that are still on your roster are 20-30.
So I would go with the Georgia catcher. He shows power.
And the Red Sox, who pick at 20, also need a catcher. So you have a chance to snipe the Red Sox if you're Cleveland.
I haven't been a Red Sox fan since Andre Dawson was there, and the only reason I was a Red Sox fan was because Andre Dawson.
The Red Sox, the more I'm appalling my mother.
What is a Red Sox anyway?
I mean,
a sock that's red.
Yes, you can play as the Red Sox.
It's red.
Sox new backyard game that just came out on basically a remastered version of the '97 original. Yeah, they have Stephanie Morgan doing the gritty. They did that, but it's not the point. The point is, I think Daniel Jackson's the best player for Cleveland to pick. William, I mean, 31 home runs, and the Red Sox also need a catcher. So,
let me ask you this, Joey. Like with your team being Cleveland, you know, I mean,
we're both Cleveland
with the White Sox, you know, Cholowski was just, you know, I mean. He's the pick, you know. I mean, who is that guy for?
They drafted first overall in the major league. It could be Bazana in a few years. Should I just lock in Cleveland, William?
I think so, and that's the reason you and I can go over the Guardians so much because we're both fans. We both watch them pretty much all the freaking time, so we can go in and
but the only difference is I became a fan of sports teams, but the Chief logo. I love this logo. This logo and the 99 Stars
that's
logo.
Legitimate.
Logos.
Yeah, that's legitimate.
Okay, I became
that's legitimate. I mean, they brought back Chief Wahoo.
As a kid was yellow, and the Lakers were really the only team that had yellow jerseys. So yes, I think Jersey Association and and players you enjoy watching play a factor
They
in
brought
who
back
becomes.
Chief Wahoo. The Chief Wahoo stuff's their highest selling merchandise to date. I mean, they
don't sell
brought
it
back
in
Chief Wahoo's merchandise.
but you can buy outside of the stadium.
Yeah, you can buy it on their
I got a
website.
rally
They
towel
can't put it in
website.
the stadium, but on the website, it's like
You can buy it on the
Chief
website,
Wahoo?
and you can buy it from
Go get 'em,
people
bud.
outside the stadium, because there are fans that sell
Yeah.
Indians gear outside the stadium, because that's legal.
Oh, I'm sure that they're sponsored by the Indians. I'm sure they're sponsored by ownership. I mean, I'm sure ownership goes out and gives them free stuff to, sell, and they get a little kickback from it. I'm sure that it's
Hey, the
all
Red
sponsored.
Sox at 20. The Boston Red Sox. I'm kind of curious to see what the Boston Red Sox do here. They've got a bunch of guys. I think the problem with the Red Sox this year is they've got a bunch of guys who are dealing with injuries. The starting rotation was supposed to suck. I think the rotation's been better, but Tanner Houck hasn't played all season. I do have Daniel Jackson here, but yeah, 32 home runs, 997 fielding percentage. And I've got 4 catchers with first-round grades. But again, the Red Sox, they got upgrade catcher, starting pitcher, and middle reliever Williams. So basically the top catcher on the board is Will Brick, who I have in the sandwich portion of the first round. He would be a reach at 20. And then you've got the pitchers. You've got Bowman, good high school pitcher, but I could see why you'd be hesitant to take him. Cole Carlin gave up 8 runs to Ole Miss. Tennessee's pitcher laid an egg against Virginia Commonwealth in the regionals. Good season outside of that, but you look for playoff performers, when it comes to these picks. And the 2 guys from UCLA and Cal, Logan Redmond went 8-0, but had arm fatigue in April, had to shut down. And then you got Edwards, who went ERA of under 2, but he also had 8-0 decisions, and he looked shaky in the Super Regionals against North Carolina. But he started the year off very dominant. So the Red Sox, they're in sort of a pitcher quandary here at 20. But outside of catcher, bullpen, and starting pitching, the Red Sox have stability everywhere else. So, what are you thinking? Because Cleveland sort of sniped the Red Sox in the mock draft. Cleveland sort of sniped the Red Sox. The Red Sox, I don't know what the hell the Red Sox are going to do here. Middle relievers, starting pitcher, and catcher are like the low needs for the Red Sox. And they can address these needs in free agency since they're a big market team too. But let's look at the top of the board. Let's look at all the players. Tyler Bell is available. He is number 10 on MLB.com. Condon's also available. But I'm looking at the Red Sox shortstop and center fielder contracts. I believe Jalen Duran, they've got Trevor Story until 2029, and they can move Marcelo Mayer to shortstop in 2029. But yeah, Tyler Bell, I think Tyler Bell probably wins out here because he would get 3 years to develop, and he could by the time 2029 arrives, he will be ready to take over for Trevor Story, who is getting up there in age. He's getting a little bit older, so good player still, but I don't think the Red Sox will re-sign him when his contract's up. So I guess Tyler Bell's going to come off the board here since he's 10th on MLB.com. Is that what you're thinking, William? William, you guys, here's my audio now. Is my audio? Hold on. Sorry.
Letting William, I'm here. I was letting William do his thing.
William.
But yeah,
Tyler Bell
definitely, has that ability to, be, or at least compete with.
He's 10th overall on MLB.com's rankings.
Yeah.
The Red Sox can get him at 20. And Trevor Story, I like him, but he's in his 30s now, and his contract's up in 2029. And the Red Sox more than likely aren't renewing that.
Yeah, and a shortstop can have some pretty good value there. Compared to what's on the board for pitching and that kind of stuff,
Padres I'm Carolina high school pick Carson Bowman. I really like Bowman, but the Padres have good batting, but their starting rotation's just not been great. He entered Southside Christian Academy as an 8th grader before most players enroll. Like, he made the team as an 8th grader, and you know, this is a guy that ERA of 0, won South Carolina Player of the Year as a junior. This year he went 7-0, a little bit, but 2 no-hits, and he won 5 state championships at South Carolina State, at Southside Christian Academy. He won one as an 8th grader, and he's also added 5 pounds of muscle leading up to the draft. 3, 4, 5. His pitches go up to 96 out of the bullpen. He's pitched 6 to 7 innings, and that's the thing. If you've got a high school pitcher, consistently you're getting clipped, I give them the benefit of the doubt. But if they're not, in 5 innings, I usually look at the bullpen. And usually you want 100 innings from a starting pitcher, but most high school pitchers are not going to pitch 100 innings. So there's other factors you have to take into consideration with these player evaluations. But the Padres, it's pretty clear they need pitching. And I think Bowman makes a lot of... Let's see what we got for... Because Bowman's just been... I'm sorry, but winning 5 state championships is more impressive than some of the eggs the college pitchers laid in this year's College World Series. So, if I'm the Padres, I'd bet on that upside. You could go with a center fielder, too. I'm looking at the contracts before I share the tab, because we're still on the Padres. Yeah, I just found the Peralta error. I'm fixing that. Like I said earlier, I'm kind of a perfectionist with some of the errors. Jackson Merrill's the center fielder. 2021 first-round pick. Does not enter arbitration until 2027. Not going to be UFA until 2031. I think the Padres are going to try to lock him up this offseason because he challenged Paul Skeens for Rookie of the Year a few years ago. Jackson Merrill. So that is a guy I think the Padres are going to try to lock up. And as much as I like Trevor Condon, if you took Condon, though, you don't have to pay Jackson Merrill once he becomes a UFA if he wants to go to the Dodgers or Yankees. That's the thing with Condon. I feel like Condon, with his size, William, he's going to need 5 years in the minors. And if the Padres take him, he'll be ready if Merrill leaves. And if he doesn't, he can be a really good backup. But at the same token, they need pitching, too. So
Yeah.
And Bowman won 5 consecutive state championships, and a lot of these college pitchers in the late part of the first round, they had horrible games in the tournament of college. So while they're effective in the regular season, they're not good playoff performers.
Yeah, I think Bowman just kind of outweighs everything right here.
Yeah. So this is the first pick, I think, in 7 picks that we agree on. But yeah, it's just Tigers, I went Tegan Kuhns. Tigers have a lot of guys coming back at batter, but they are going to have a fire sale at pitcher. And, you know, Scooble's a UFA. Casey Mize is a UFA. And the Tigers are 7 games under 500, Joey, so they have a tough decision. Do they want to be sellers at the trade deadline, or do they want to stay put and hold like Mel Gibson and Braveheart and try to get this thing together? Because if they hold and miss the playoffs, then they know for what they're probably going to lose.
Well, the Tigers
That's
are in a weird situation because they have some of the better pitching in the AL, but they've been hit with some injuries this year. So I don't really think that pitching needs to be addressed as much as a lot of people think they do. Yeah, they could use a new 3rd or 4th starter, but injuries have hurt them and their pitching staff this year at different times with different people. The big thing I think they need
are 2 best pitchers, and they might lose them for nothing since they're both UFAs.
Maybe, but it really depends on how much they want to pay. I mean, if you've got 2 number 1 pitchers, you want to keep at least one of them. So how much are they willing to pay? They don't have a farm system like the Guardians do where they can just churn out new number one starters anytime they feel like it. They don't have that type of farm system. So they're going to have to keep at least one of those guys. So I would look between Condon and Coons. And it would either be one of those because you want to replenish the starting lineup, but you also need that.
You got Gracia, too, if you want a college center fielder. And then you also got Cole Carlin. And Logan Redeman, Mason Edwards, these are dark horse players. Redeman had arm fatigue in April, but he was 8-0 until the injury. Mason Edwards, 8-0, ERA of under 2. So that's another guy. Had 8-0 decisions, though, and he had a shooting game against North Carolina.
In this situation, though,
I
Tigers don't need an immediate. They don't need an immediate center field guy. They need somebody to come and take over, so they could get.
Coons is the player I mocked the Tigers. So he did have the awful game against Virginia Commonwealth, but his ERA was under 3 after the SEC tournament. But that Commonwealth game took his ERA from under 3 to 3.56. He got pulled in the third inning against Virginia Commonwealth, and I think that's why. Because before the Virginia Commonwealth game, Joey, Coons was projected as a dark horse to potentially go in the top 15. And then that game really set him back to where he was before he was considered a dark horse. Because he was gaining so much traction, he was considered a dark horse to go top 15. And then the Virginia Commonwealth game happened, and he's basically stuck at 22 now. And it happens.
Yeah.
Players have a bad game, so you can't take him out of the first round on that alone. But yeah, that bad game's going to keep him in the back end of the first round.
Yeah, that's just being
Tigers
human,
need
man.
pitching, though, so they'll take Coons here.
We talk about this in football all the time, yeah.
What are you thinking, William? You thinking Coons here as well? Joey's saying they should go Coons.
Yeah.
We all agree on Coons.
Long, lanky,
Yeah.
really wing that
And
ball.
now we get to the Cubs. Cubs, I don't really see an immediate need for the Cubs. I mean, this team and the Dodgers were the two NL teams that I pinpointed as teams that have no
Fuck
weaknesses.
the Cubs.
I agree, William. As a Cleveland Indians fan, the Cubs. Now we have the longest baseball drought thanks to the Cubs.
Yeah.
That World Series could have
And
gone.
we ended up with the first overall pick, but look who we're getting, man. It's like, dude, that's our team. That's perfect, man.
Yep.
I love it.
Hunter Smith's in AAA. But yeah, the Cubs, I went with they have the luxury of going best player of the board. For me, that's Gracia. For William, there is a best player in Williams' board's actually Condon. So
Yeah.
But they've got Pete Crow Armstrong locked up long term.
Let me give them Condon. I'm just going to
Let me
fuck
look
them.
at the contract before I lock it. Not saying you can't.
No, man.
Contract, but let me look at the contract.
real.
Check my data here.
I generally like our rivals, to have their best players when we beat them. I mean, that's just how I like it. I want them to be their best when.
Pete Crow Armstrong is not a UFA until 2021.
But however, with the Cubs, just give them Condon. Forget it, man.
Well, Pete Crow Armstrong's a 2031 UFA. He's going to need 5 years to develop. So if the Cubs don't bring back Pete Crow Armstrong and you draft Condon and you develop him gradually, it could work out. And you can reload. So, yeah.
It could. I mean, it
Not
could
saying
be
it
good.
will, but
so, I mean,
it's got a better chance of working out than a team drafting. If a team takes Condon and their center fielder is a UFA in 2028, you're going to have to rush Condon. It's going to be a disastrous result. At least here, Condon could succeed with the Cubs.
Yeah, for sure. And that's generally how it is, like in football with Seattle, and they always get the players that are like that kind of stuff. But
Bo Lawrence,
it happens, man. And
Bo Lawrence of the Christ Church Episcopal High School. The Mariners, they have Crawford shortstop for years on the Mariners, but Colby first round pick finally made them. So Crawford, he decided to vote over to third.
Yeah.
Mariners, they lost a second. They lost a second, but they were Cole Young from my old high school game. He's had a good year with the Mariners. And they drafted Kate Anderson, my number 1 player, at 3 last year. So they're going to be able to reload once some of these pitchers become UFAs. And I went with Bo Lawrence. 12 home runs, 433 batting average, probably the best power hitter in high school. He is now in the top 20 on MLB.com. I had a fringe first rounder on him, but Bo Lawrence just makes a lot of sense for the Mariners here. I have him at 24, 6, 200. Seems like we're in agreement on that.
Nah, for sure.
All right. Joey's. So we've only got a few picks left in this first round. The Brewers. I went with Cole. Joey I share with the Brewers. And look at the Brewers. They've got to gun through 5 rotations. Can go on the board, but I think Carlin, he's going to be the guy they end up taking. So he's got 7 pitches, 4 MLB ready. The other 3 need refinement in the minors. And 4 230. I think this is where the pitcher run happens.
Carlin is like a poor man's Cade Smith in a lot of ways. Big guy, throws hard, but has a surprising gentleness at times when it comes to his pitches.
Yes.
And Cade Smith didn't do as well. He was a good setup guy. Didn't do as well as a starter. But really, I think he still, to this day, is the league leader in saves. Old school saves guy. He's on pace to get 45 saves or something this year. And that's where Carlin sits. I don't think he...
Pitching's not an exact science, Joey, because...
I think his role is more of a middle reliever to a closer, where he can just get out there, let it loose, and doesn't have to worry about arm fatigue. Just get out there, rain it down on him, go home.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same role as that Cade Smith has
That's
really
fair.
excelled in.
Because pitching really isn't an exact science. Yeah, you see guys pitch 6, 7 innings in college, and you think that's going to translate to the MLB. It doesn't always translate. And this is why you have these different reliever roles. Like, for example, Liam Peterson with Florida is a projected top 15 pick. So is Gridler. Neither pitchers pitched more than 5 innings at high school or college. And they're both projected first rounders. And I see them as bullpen guys. They could still go in round 1, Joey, but just looking at the tape, I think they're both bullpen guys. I think we're in agreement on that. Crap, I accidentally...
And I've been saying it for years on here. I put more faith and see the bullpen as more important in this era of baseball than 99% of people. Because most people are like, the starter. Most starters go 6, 7 innings tops. Sometimes they don't even get 5. That middle reliever position is more important right now. I wish the setup position would come back.
My top middle reliever is actually Colby Allen. He came in. Yeah. Southern Miss won a game in the regionals of the College World Series, and Colby Allen came in the 7th inning and pitched an inning, pitched a shutout. Allen's my top middle reliever, so that is another guy.
You have 3 to 4 good middle relievers. That can be just as
because a lot of MLB teams don't have 4 good middle relievers. Ideally, you want 1 closer, 1 setup pitcher, sometimes 2, 4 middle relievers, and 2 long relievers. That's ideally what you want for your bullpen. But it's just so hard to put that together and not have a weak point, in addition to having your starting pitching.
It's really not if you really dedicate yourself to it. Problem is, most teams don't dedicate themselves to it. They don't even dedicate themselves to a closer. They're like, we have to have 4 to 5 top starters. It's like, no, you only have to have like 3 top starters.
You got to have 3 for the playoffs, and you got to have 5 for the regular season. That's why teams prioritize.
Yeah, you only need 2 serviceable starters on the back end. You only need 3 really good starters, and then you have to have the middle relief portion because what are starters? You see teams ditch their starters after 2 innings.
we need 7 starting pitchers because they're substitute starters if our top 5 guys are injured. You move those guys to long reliever until one of your top 5 guys gets injured. Then you can adjust your rotation, you know?
I've seen 3 games this year where teams pulled their starter after 2 innings and just went middle relievers.
Yeah.
Until they got to like the 7th inning, and then they brought somebody in to set up, and then their closer.
Yeah, I want Logan Redeman here. The Braves need a starting pitcher. Logan Redeman was a guy who he was listed at 19 at one point in April before the arm fatigue in April that shut him down for the year. Before he got shut down for the year, he was at like number 19 on MLB.com. I still think someone's going to roll the dice on him, but the question is who. I could see the Braves being that team. But yeah, Mason Edwards and Redeman I have coming off the board here at back-to-back picks, the 2 undefeated pitchers left on the board. Looking at this tab, William, I accidentally clicked on Liam Peterson. AJ Grassi is available, top batter on the board. Cole Carlin, who Joey talked about, is still available. What are you thinking here with the Braves at 26?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Who do we got? Let's give him a pitcher, man. Somebody can always use a pitcher.
All right. Carlin and Redeman are the top 2 starters on the board. Joey thinks Carlin's more of a reliever, but Redeman had arm fatigue. And then you have Mason Edwards, who had 8-0 decisions, but
give me the Arizona kid, man.
Arizona
kid.
Kid, you got it. Cole Carlin. All right. And, you know, the Braves, they need a number 5 starter, and if he doesn't work out as a number 5 starter, they can move him to the bullpen. And
for sure.
He'll be set up for success either way.
Yeah. We'll get Redeman to someone else for sure.
And the Mets are really irritating because whenever I think their rotation's going to suck, their pitching plays out of its mind. And then whenever I think their pitching's good enough to where they can make a push for the World Series, their starting rotation plays like crap. It's really frustrating. Nolan McLean and Christian Scott. Clay Holmes has been a good number 3 when healthy, but everyone else has sucked with the Mets this year. And I remember watching the season opener, Mets-Pirates on NBC. It was a brutal game to watch from a pitching standpoint. Great batting, but brutal pitching. And the Pirates at least have gotten better since that opening day loss. The Mets have just, opening day game was their peak as sad as it is to say. Like, I want Mason Edwards here, but yeah, you know, he has a lot of pitches, but the big knock on Mason Edwards is he has a 30% miss rate on his fastball. He doesn't display command and pitching accuracy as consistently as you'd like him to. And that's got to get cleaned up in the minors. That miss rate on his fastballs, that has got to get cleaned up in the minors. Doesn't have to be under 10%, but you got to at least get that down to like 20%. Or maybe even under 20%, Joey. I think the miss rate, that's the biggest reason why Mason Edwards is listed as a late first-round pick. That miss rate on his fastballs is why I think teams are a little bit iffy, you know? It's not that he can't be the guy. It's more of an objection. We need to see him overcome that. But I do think someone's going to roll the dice on here.
Dumb stat. Miss rate is such a dumb stat because here's the thing. It doesn't matter what it is. What matters is consistency. You can miss on 10 straight pitches, but if they're around the plate and people end up swinging at them, then who cares if they miss? At least it gets the batter guessing. So miss rate is just a meaningless stat. What matters is the mental side of it. Are you getting into the batter's head? And if the answer is yes, then he can miss on 50%. I don't give a crap.
There were only 2 pitchers in college baseball that had ERAs of under 2 that went undefeated. Jackson Flora, who went to the Giants at 4, and Mason Edwards. And Edwards is still on the board here for the Mets, but so is Logan Redeman, the UCLA pitcher that had arm fatigue. But yeah, the Mets need starting pitching.
Missed a lot?
What are you thinking?
You know who missed a lot, Chris? Greg Maddux missed a lot. Hell, he gave up a home run on purpose early in the year just to get into somebody's head. Okay? And then struck him out later when he showed him the same thing. Miss rate doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Can you get in somebody's head? And if you can just get just close enough and play with the batter's head, miss rate's meaningless.
Yeah, but both these pitchers were dark horses to go in the top 15. At 2 months ago, both these pitchers were dark horses to creep into the top 15 with a strong finish. Redeman got shut down, and Mason Edwards, the miss rate is, and the all the no decisions. He got pulled after 3 innings against North Carolina, but what isn't a loss? It was a no decision. So I think it should have been a loss, though. But the Oregon game, too, probably should have been a loss, but they counted as no decisions on the stat sheet. I don't agree with the stat sheet, but the stat sheet is the official metric that determines win-loss record in college baseball. But, you know, that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And the Mets need pitching. So which of these Big Ten, I want to say Pac-12, but they're Big Ten now. Sorry, they're the West Coast teams in the Big Ten. It is what it is. Who should the Mets pick here between these two, or is there another option, like maybe Coleman Bork with? I do like Wes Mendez, but at the same token,
we need to save Redeman for a better team.
So you're sparing
I'm just
Redeman
saying.
from having to go to the Mets because they're the Mets. Okay.
Yeah, because they're the Mets. Yeah.
So are we going Mason Edwards then, William?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mason
give him
Edwards is a Met.
The other California kid.
Yep. So if the Giants don't want Flora, they better take Mason Edwards at 4 because you have 2 guys with ERAs of under 2 that went undefeated this year in the state of California in your freaking backyard. And I see these mock drafts with Jacob Lombard. Your shortstop's under contract till 2032. I don't care if Willie Adames sucks. You need pitching. You have 2 good starting pitchers, and you've got 2 college pitchers in your backyard in your state that are good enough to get the job done. And then the Astros, they've got the final pick here in the top 28, and then we get to the sandwich portion of round 1. I went Zion Rhodes. Zion Rhodes, he isn't a power hitter. He gets on base consistently. He steals bases, and he feels like a Gold Glove outfielder. And he's also versatile enough to play 4 different positions, which makes up for his lack of power hitting on a consistent basis. And I feel like Zion Rhodes is a perfect fit for what the Astros want to do here. And yeah, I bumped him up because of the versatility. There are other guys that might be better fits, but yeah. Astros at 28. What are we thinking here? Mason Edwards. So looking at the big board here, Grassi is still available. I'm looking at the Astros center fielder contract.
Yeah.
Contract before I jump the gun here.
And an athlete is an athlete, you know, as goes with center fielders. So it's not. I mean,
they need a left fielder, but I'm looking at the exact. They have Jake Myers. Jake Myers is a UFA in 2028, so they might
as
actually.
As long as he can get in and
actually.
You know, hit a little bit, then
because even though Jake Myers has been really good as a 13th round pick in 2017, you know, he's a 2028 UFA. It's possible he gets traded in the offseason if the Astros don't want to keep him. So Gracia could be the pick here if you want to go best player available, William.
Yeah. Let's do that.
See, this is why the contracts are important because, yeah, immediate needs important. But if you got a guy who's a 2028 UFA and your best player on the board is a center fielder and your center fielder is 2028 UFA, it's a college guy, it makes sense to just get that guy and reload. Yeah. Get the best player on the board and reload.
Agreed.
So, yeah, I had on Rose. But, yeah, I'm about ready to move on to – I don't know why this says share – I don't want to stop sharing, no. But, yes, I almost accidentally clicked that. Now we're at the sandwich of the first round.
I never got to hear your response to what I said, Joey. My computer died and I wasn't plugged in. And I came back on and
What
I was just
exactly are
wondering-
you thinking? Your response to Cleveland's, your question about Cleveland, is with Rob.
Yeah.
Cholowski. It's
I mean,
probably
who is
Bazana.
the team that? Yeah.
Because
or
Bazana
who-
was the number 1 pick in 2024. Cleveland took Travis Bazana out of Oregon State first overall in 2024. He's now in the majors. So we're gonna have Bazana versus.
Okay, what was the
It's gonna be a fun ride.
exact question here? I didn't hear the question. What was the exact?
Who's
question
Cleveland's
that you wanted?
version of Rock Cholowski, the UCLA player projected to go first
Who's
overall?
the player that you want to see with your Cleveland Indians?
I went with Bazana simply because they're
Hmm.
both number 1 overall picks.
Huh.
2 years apart. Oregon State, UCLA, rival teams. There's history there.
I really like Bazana coming out because he was I didn't know where he would fit at the time because right now second base and shortstop in Major League Baseball are clogged. It's like clogged drain. But I really liked after they traded Javier. I really thought that he had a shot to. The only question was where he would play and whether it be shortstop or second. But with Rocchio really taking over shortstop and making it his own, that became an easy question. The big thing with Bazana that still hurts is his sidearm throw. It's a longer windup, makes it harder for double teams, and at times he does commit
You meant
errors.
double
He
plays,
has a lot of
correct?
work on defense,
Just-
The
but
thing
I would
is-
rather have Bazana as the
The
number
thing
1
is-
overall.
I mean, I thought Bazana did the best of any player in college baseball in his draft year, but there were other players I liked more. The 2 guys I had ahead of Bazana in the preseason were Nick Kurtz, Wake Forest, and Jack Caglione out of Florida. And both those guys ended up being just as good as I thought they would be once they got to the MLB, but they both had down years in their draft year, which is why Cleveland passed on both at 1. And I'm not saying Bazana's the wrong pick, but I could also see why fans of the Athletics or the Royals would argue that those players are better than Bazana. I could see both sides of the coin, Joey.
Yeah, but if the question was this year's potential first rounder or Bazana, then
Bazana,
that
I
is
would
very
take Bazana
specific.
over
So I would
Cholowski.
take Bazana.
Yeah. But I do think Cholowski's got a chance. Because I got a really good email from a Chicago sports fan last night. Who's the best player in 2030? Caleb Williams, Bears first overall pick, Connor Bedard, Blackhawks first overall pick, or Cholowski, White Sox first overall pick. I would say
Cholowski,
Caleb's
hands
1,
down.
Cholowski is 2, and Bedard's 3. And the only reason I put Bedard at 3 is because I was
You just
expecting
wanna
a
argue with
70-point
me.
season from Bedard by now.
You
It
just
hasn't
want to
happened.
argue
He's
with
got
me.
3 injuries, Joey. And with Leo
what it
Carlson, the
is.
guy picked right behind him, getting $18 million for 5 years, Bedard's going to want 19 to 20 million, Joey. And for a guy with 3 injuries, already at age 21, paying him 19 million, a fractured jaw as a rookie, and 2 elbow injuries, that's not smart. That's how you set your franchise
that
back
what
in
it
hockey,
is?
because you can't get those depth players, those role players, if you pay your top line center 19 million and he's got two elbow injuries, and then he ends up like Tua. That's how you get you lock yourself in with a bad contract like the Dolphins did with Tua.
That isn't really the entire
still think
picture.
Bedard
Is
can
it
get a 100-point season? It hasn't
is
happened.
the
And the injury
elbow
history
injury
with Bedard is
the
why I'd rank
strong?
Cholowski ahead of him. I
That doesn't
factored
matter.
that into my assessment.
Is it the strong arm or the weak arm?
Both
That's what
arms
matters.
got it. Both of his elbows got injured. The right elbow
So
was
it
his
wasn't-
strong elbow. It got injured last year. And then this year, his left elbow hit the ice. He's going to miss 4 months, including September, all of September and all of October. So
Well, I wouldn't be too
Hey.
concerned right now, though, unless his strong arm, the one where he puts the power into his swing, if that gets a second injury, that's when I get concerned. But
Yeah, he's
one,
still 21, and all of these injuries have been 1 to 2 months, 4 months. He hasn't had like a 6-month or 10-month injury yet.
Hey, Joey. Which is worse, being a Cleveland Browns fan or a Indians fan?
Indians have actually come close.
Indians haven't. They haven't finished at the bottom of their division since like '91. So I would say a Browns fan, because that's more depressing.
I remember even being like a rival of the White Sox, I always liked the Indians because of, like Major League, that shaped like my entire Little League career. That movie, and doing shit like calling shots. I was that kid that was like hockey, and it was pretty interesting.
I remember the strike year. That is the greatest baseball team ever assembled that got zero credit because it was a strike year. They were going to cruise to a World Series.
I think we would have gotten a Cleveland Indians. What would have happened in '94 if the strike hadn't happened and baseball continued? I think we would have gotten a Cleveland Indians Montreal Expos World Series with Pedro on the Expos, and I think Cleveland beats the Expos, and Pedro, he suffers his first heartbreaking playoff loss.
The Expos may not have left Montreal. I mean, that's the huge part. Montreal, the Guardians would have probably been World Series champs.
Cleveland Indians would have been World Series
champs. Left Montreal.
The Expos would have made the World Series.
Bro, they're proud of that.
Series.
It's Indians,
that's what we were denied.
Guardians.
Yeah. I think it would have been Indians Expos. You can debate who would have won, but I think that's the matchup we would have gotten that year, 94, had the strike not happened. Joey seems to agree with me on that.
Oh, I agree. That was a great time to be a baseball fan, and those teams back then, they were juggernauts. I would put those two teams up against any collective roster in baseball today and say both those teams still end up in the World Series today. No rosters could even come close to those two.
Yeah. Okay. San Francisco Giants.
I'll take the 1919 White Sox over them.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, you going with the Black Sox scandal, or are you going to place a bet on this? It's like, you going to bring Shoeless Joe back and have him place a bet for you?
I am. I got to, man. We're getting Kozlowski, man. I mean, it's
the Giants.
It's what we need as a team, man, and it's going to be win now because we've
and the
been
White Sox got 34.
So much lately,
they traded Jacob Wilson, their 15th overall pick, who led Ole Miss to a College World Series championship, to the Pirates last night. And I'm guessing he's going to move to third base, Joey, since Brian Hayes. I forgot the Pirates traded Brian Hayes to the Reds. I had to edit that in my Pirates write-up. And I'm guessing Jacob Wilson's going to move to third base since they have Connor Griffin on it, like the extension. I'm guessing that's what the Pirates' plan is to improve third base. They're gonna move Jacob Wilson from shortstop to third. Because why would they give up pick 34 for Jacob Wilson, who was drafted 15th overall in 2023, who did win a championship at Ole Miss in his +1 year, but he really didn't build off that. And
so we're picking for the Giants.
Yeah, we're on 29.
All right.
I went Coleman Borthwick, the 10-0 as a starter. He was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year in Florida. He led South Walton Seahawks, not a powerhouse team, to a 3A state championship. Yeah, his ERA is probably going to go up from 0.21 because 3A is not exactly the strongest level of competition in high school sports. I mean, Arch Manning, he won a 2A state championship at Newman, where Peyton Manning played high school. I don't know if Archie played high school in New Orleans. I don't think he did, but Peyton did. Peyton, Eli, and Cooper, I think, all went to Newman, which is where Arch went. So and Newman's 2A team in Louisiana. But yeah, I don't think the levels matter as much. But yeah, the Giants, Logan Redeman, who had arm fatigue, is still on the board.
Yeah.
So they could also go with the catcher because they traded Patrick Bailey to Cleveland.
You got to go with the hometown kid, man.
So the Giants get 2 hometown kids in Williams mock here on the simulator.
Yep.
And yeah,
This is a
best
team worth
player on the
saving
board is
for,
now
man.
Zion Rhodes. See who Williams White Sox get at 34.
Yeah.
Sawyer Strasnitter. I have the Royals going best player on the board because it's a luxury pick. They can go. I know they drafted Gavin Cross 7th overall in 2022. He hasn't made the majors yet. The Royals have the luxury to go best player on the board, and Sawyer Strasnitter was a preseason top 10 pick. He had 10 triples as a freshman last year, and I know he declined. I know he wasn't as good as he was as a freshman, but he was the 10th best player in the preseason. He's there at 30. I think you got to pick him. You know? You got to take the 10th best player. If the 10th best player in the preseason jumps to 30, you got to pick him, especially if you don't have any needs. You get the value pick. But we'll see here. The Royals, a team. Zion Rose, I'm guessing, is who you're going to give the Royals. He's the best player on the board here, and you're in the simulator. But I'm looking Strauss, Snyder, Wes Mendez. If you want to give the Royals a college pitcher, you got a high school pitcher as well. Gavin Grahovac, the first baseman, missed his sophomore season, but Texas A&M was the runner-up in 2024. Then their coach left to go to Texas. Cade Sorrell. I gave the Pirates Andrew Williamson, but that was before the White Sox traded for this pick. So, I mean, there's a few good players, William. You got a favorite between this group? Zion Rose is a good defender. He's not a power hitter, but the Royals do have power hitters in the outfield. You got Borthwick. Just won a 3-8 title. What are you thinking here? This is a tough pick. Joey, you got a suggestion for William? Hold on, let me check Restream to make sure my audio's working. Okay, all right. I think William left, and Joey's back. So
I'm trying to do 3 things at once.
No worries. You do your thing.
What are you?
MLB Draft. We're on the Royals at 30. They can go best player available. Do you want to make a pick here? We got Rose. We got Borthwick.
I don't want anybody good for the Royals.
You want me to just scroll down and give them the worst possible player?
No.
Okay, I was asking.
Cruel.
That was a joke.
Cruel.
We're not going to do that.
I'm someone that I like. Keep going down.
Down.
No,
Stop.
Florida State. The Florida State.
pitcher.
Yeah.
I think
he's
the
a good
Florida
player.
State pitcher is the top pitcher on the board, or at least second.
Yeah.
Wes Mendez. Yeah, that's a good pick
He's a
for
really good player. I can never remember his name, but he's a really good player.
He is. I agree. He's a good player. That's who I had going to the Diamondbacks at 31. So I agree. He's been really consistent with the Seminoles these past 2 seasons. He had 90 strikeouts as a freshman, 173, nearly doubled that. He went 7-3, and then he went 9-3 this year, and he got his ERA down. So, he has 6 pitches that are at MLB level, but his fastball can max out at 96 if you use him out of the bullpen. So, and I just think he's pretty steady, pretty consistent player. But yeah, where does this put the Diamondbacks now with the Royals taking their guy? They could go. The Royals could go. The Diamondbacks could go high school pitcher. I could see Strasnider on Arizona, but they've got Corbin Carroll. Grahovic's pretty good, but he has an injury history. I don't know what the Diamondbacks are going to do here, and I'm going to see if William texted me because he left the show. Let me see here. I'm texting William to see what's going on. I'm guessing he had other business to attend to. Something came up. I don't know exactly what's happening here, but I'm just trying to I'm trying to get a read on the situation. This is the second time TalkShoe has cut me off, but whatever. As long as I'm just trying to see what's going on here. I really appreciate William stepping up and you stepping up today. So but yeah, I want to wait for the White Sox pick if William gets back, but I don't know who's picking at 32 here. Diamondbacks. I went Wes Mendez. But yeah, Joey just went Wes Mendez at 31. We're gonna get through these. I want to be done with this by noon so we can prepare for the actual MLB draft and we can promote this show. But yeah, I'm also looking at and I know the audio's been kind of stagnant. I think part of that's because I moved the microphone over to the right side because I had this plan, Joey, because my iPad charger's on the right side of the couch. So I was going to do this show on the couch, but the iPad's at 88% right now. It's only dipped 12% since I started recording. And since Joey's doing some other stuff, auto draft's probably going to end up picking for William. So I'm going to go through the rest of this mock draft so that when William and Joey come back, they can just run through the rest of the first round and we can sign off. I'm going to go Gavin Grahovic here to the Cardinals at 32. I believe his fielding percentage was 1,056 out of 57 games. Super consistent. Cade Sorrell, the right fielder, Texas A&M. The Pirates did trade 34 to the White Sox, so we're just going to skip that. We're not even going to discuss it. We're just going to... Cole Prosek, I have him to the Yankees. They need a third baseman. They could also look at Landon Tome if he's here. So could the White Sox. Apparently, Landon Tome's the guy the White Sox won at 34. That's what I've heard. Because MLB.com has him at 34. Will Brick. I gave the Phillies Will Brick. Rockies got Landon Tome. William has the Rockies taking Landon Tome at 10. So, his floor is 10. His ceiling's 10. His floor is 37. But he's going to get picked somewhere in the first round today. Picks 1 through 37 are first-round picks. However, picks 38 through 40, the first 3 picks in round 2 are going to be the last 3 picks televised. That means these second-round picks are technically late first-rounders because the MLB says we're going to stop at 40 picks, but the first round's 37 picks. Guess what? If the first round's 37 picks and you're televising 40 picks, either do the whole second round or stop at 37. This is what... But because the MLB is going to televise the first 40 picks, we are going to include the first 3 picks of round 2 in the sandwich portion of the first round, because that's what Jonathan Mayo did in his mock, and I trust his intel. So, Aiden Ruiz, I went with him to Toronto, and then the Dodgers, Jensen Hirsch Cohen of Kingsburg in California. And William might have other stuff to do before 1. But yeah, I gave the Dodgers Jensen Hirsch Cohen because 0.71, 9-1 is 10 starts as a senior. He showed 112 strikeouts. He only has 4 pitches, but, you know. Okay. William's computer is starting back up. Okay, guys. William's back.
What up? What's
we'll get back to the
happening?
simulator, but I'll quickly recap some of these picks here, and then we'll go through the simulator here. But the Pirates traded 34 to the White Sox. I've got Hirsch Cohen at 40, Aiden Ruiz 39, Jack Radell, pretty good Notre Dame pitcher, 3-year starter. I do have some breaking news. It's a huge hockey contract extension, but I do have some breaking news. We will play the breaking news and reveal that at the end of the show because I want to keep this baseball related, but I do have some breaking news on Nikita Kucherov, and it does involve a contract extension with the Tampa Bay Lightning right winger who was in the final year of a contract. So I do have some Kucherov news, so if you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, you might want to stay tuned for that. But that'll be at the end of the... But yeah, the Diamondbacks are up. William, I'm going to go back to the board here, and I'm basically giving William control of the show at this point because I've already gone through every pick in depth in the mock, and there's 10 picks left.
Are you saying the Cooch is loose?
I've already went through all 40 picks in my MLB Mock Draft, and Nikita Kucherov got an 8-year extension, Joey. The Anaheim Ducks paid Leo Carlson $18 million a year. He only had 67 points, and they paid him $18 million a year. Nikita Kucherov is re-signing with the Tampa Bay Lightning for a meager $9.5 million. He just won the Hart Trophy. He led the NHL in points, and he is choosing to take less money to stay with the Lightning. $9.5 million for 8 years. That is official for Nikita Kucherov. Wow, and it's breaking news. So that's...
You know what that tells me? That tells me, A, he's built a home in that city and doesn't want to leave, and B, he's not going to play out that entire 8 years. He's playing, let's get as much money as I
Kucherov
can
was a 2011 second-round pick. He's been with the Lightning his entire career.
Yeah, he's not planning on playing out that 8-year contract. He's planning on getting what he can, because you have to look at the guaranteed money in that situation.
There's
Because
no
if it's
guaranteed
high-
money in the NHL, Joey. The contracts are ironclad like baseball. You can buy players out, but you do suffer a cap penalty as a result.
Yeah, that's probably what is going to end up happening. He's probably going to retire,
By
and
year
it'll
4,
probably
year
hit.
5, and the Lightning will have to pay the contract for a few years. That's what the Canadians had to do.
That's basically the same thing as guaranteed money with a different, with a different set of word vomit placed in front
Kucherov is 33 years old, so if he finishes his career, he finishes this contract, you are looking at him. This is the last year NHL players can receive 8-year extensions too. Once September 15th starts, NHL extensions can only be 7 years, and the NHL regular season is going to be 84 games too, starting this year.
Because here's the thing. There is probably a clause in there. If he retires, he gets so much money on the buyout, and that's probably where the guarantee is that there's probably a specific clause. They can do this stuff without having a guaranteed money clause. And all you have to do is know how to work a contract. And if the NHL GM is worth his weight in salt, he probably knows how to work around that contract. And same with the agent to make this stuff work, because anybody who knows anything about contract law, there's always a way around something.
And to get the MVP of the NHL for under $10 million, that is a massive bargain, Joey. Joey might not know a lot of hockey, but he knows about Kucherov.
Yeah,
he's one of the stars in this league.
Kucherov has a name. He could probably get his agent to put something in the contract that would supersede the no guarantees, and they probably wouldn't be able to fight it because of his name recognition, his name value, because parting with him would be a massive hit to the Lightning. And then he could, to the Lightning PR team, and then he could go over, call his shots, retire, get at least a large portion of the money he didn't play with, and everybody's happy. And that's just knowing the system and knowing how to work around the limitations of what the league allows. because in sports, ironclad, there is no such thing as ironclad in sports. You want ironclad, you go get a state contracts. That'll give you ironclad.
I just got a
You want
text from
sports,
Tony
you'll
Mario.
get around it.
I just got an email from Tony Mario saying the reason Kucherov may have signed for under $10 million is they included a 2% ownership stake in the Tampa Bay Lightning when he retires.
That's a little bit of a guarantee. That is
So,
quite the guarantee,
I
isn't
don't
it?
know how much truth there is to that, but
No,
if that
but-
is true, that's probably why he took the discount, Joey.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if you want to get players to sign for cheap, give them like a 1 or 2% ownership stake in the team when they retire.
Oh,
It
yeah.
gives them that incentive. It incentivizes them to take a discount in their 30s. If you do that for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That goes for any franchise. You give them an ownership stake. It's like, why did John Gruden come out of retirement to coach the Raiders? Because $100 million in an ownership stake. Just saying, you add that ownership stake in there, people are jumping.
Yeah. So again, auto draft gave William Zion Rose. Guess we didn't pick on time, but yeah, William, the Cardinals. What are we thinking for the Cardinals?
I ain't mad at it. Cardinals? Fuck the Cardinals.
Let's see here. What can we give the Cardinals? Is there anybody that I have in
We
round
gave
2?
him the little 5'9", like 170-pound dude earlier, right?
Yeah.
The project. That might be something.
Let me see what we gave them at 13. Actually, I'm going back
I remember
up.
the
We
kid's
gave them
face,
Ace
but-
Reese, 6'4", 220. Actually, gave him a big guy.
Was that the Cardinals? Oh, I must be mistaken. I'm with someone.
You're thinking of Drew Burress, I think.
Anyway,
You're
Alright.
thinking of Drew Burress, but yeah. Hirschhorn's final starting
He's
pitcher.
still
A
on
lot
the
of these
board.
other pitchers left on the board are bullpen guys. But these are second round guys that didn't make the mock, but they're options for the Cardinals. If William Gridlinger's like 14th on MLB.com, but he's a bullpen guy. He's never pitched more than 5 innings.
Okay.
So that's technically a steal, but it's also a bad pick if you hate the Cardinals. And it sounds like that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Said yeah.
I like
You
it.
said yes. Oh, if I screwed up, I don't know how to
Yeah.
respond.
Oh no.
And then you got the Tampa Bay Rays here, and then your White Sox are on deck. So your White Sox are guaranteed a top 30 player, but Tampa Bay Rays, I don't think they would pass on Borthwick here, a local guy. I'm just curious, how far is South Walton from Tampa?
What is it? South
Walton, Florida is near the Gulf of Mexico. It's actually near the Gulf of Mexico. So
South
it's
Walton.
actually close to. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where South Walton is. I think it's in Destin, Florida. I think it's
And
in.
where are
Destin,
you looking to
Florida.
go? How far is it from where?
Destin, Florida is like right near. Is located in the Florida Panhandle on the Gulf of Mexico. So is that near Pensacola, Joey? From a geographical standpoint, Walton County.
You're cutting out.
South Walton.
How
South
far
Walton
is
High
Walton
School.
from where?
South
That-
Walton, South Walton, Florida. South Walton High School's in Florida. I'm guessing that's in Walton County, which is
Okay, so to
I've
where?
never paid attention to it. I don't know.
I can finally hear you. So
okay.
South
So
Walton
South
where?
Walton High School is a part of the Walton County School District, and I'm just trying to figure out the
what's the
exact
other
location.
town?
How far is South Walton from Tampa Bay? That's what I'm trying to figure
Tampa
out.
Bay. Okay, I got you.
Tampa Bay Rays. I know the Lightning just extended Kucherov, and that's
It
great.
is.
This high school's on a highway. That is messed up. Well, I don't know how many high schools are like on a highway.
6 hours and 9 minutes.
6 hours and 9 minutes. Yeah, because Mobile, Alabama. If you go east of Mobile, Alabama, it takes you straight to the Gulf Coast in Florida.
Yeah, it's right there. That's how far. It's that far up in the handlebar.
Yeah, that's
So,
a ways away.
yeah,
I would
it's
argue the
almost
Braves are
Mobile.
more of a hometown team for Borthwick, but you know, the
Yeah,
Rays might take the
it's still
hometown
the
guy and develop
home state.
home state guy.
You know, I mean, even though Florida might be bigger in football,
Yeah.
maybe.
The
But
South,
yeah,
yeah, he
anyway,
led South
it's still
Walton to a state
hometown, still
championship.
kind of, or home state. Yeah,
Yep.
but so is Mississippi. So
And it's an A+ school district by the Florida Department of Education for over a decade, but they never won a championship in anything. And the South Walton finally got their first 3A state championship in baseball. But they're basically South Walton's the North Allegheny of Florida. They're the North Allegheny of Florida. I know it's a terrible pun, but yeah, that North Allegheny, my old high school, is considered like the best school district in Western Pennsylvania. And I almost moved to Mount Lebanon, which is only like 20 minutes from my apartment, because those are the two schools that my parents narrowed it down to when I was 8. So yeah, South Walton. I think if South Walton's as good academically, is like the best academic school in the state for 10 years in a row, the Rays are definitely taking Borthwick if he's there at 33. Because that's, yep, I think we're in agreement on that, William. I mean, I have Borthwick going 29th, but your White Sox, they are back on the clock. We get another building block to build around. Sawyer Strasner, Williams, a player I gave the Royals.
yeah,
He had 10 triples as a freshman. He's a right fielder. I don't know if the White Sox need a right fielder. I'm going back to my write-up at number 1 and looking at what their building blocks currently are.
yeah.
I mean, it can't hurt. If you can get any player with 10 triples, that's good. Like, that means he's very fast.
Yeah, that
I
works.
mean, you've got a third baseman, Miguel Vargas, but you're going to move Colson Montgomery to second base. You're going to have Cholowski. So basically, you're going to have a really good infield. Outside of first base, you're going to have a really good infield, but you don't have any identity in the outfield because you lost Luis Roberts Jr. to the Mets. So I think this might be the guy, and this was a preseason top 10 pick, William. Sawyer Strasner was a preseason top 10 pick. He was projected to go 10th overall in the preseason. He had 10 triples. And it looks like the White Sox are getting him at 34 in your mock anyway. I had him at 30 to the Royals, but
Yeah.
What do we got here at 35? The frickin' Yankees.
The guy knows what he's doing if he's poking pitches out.
The Yankees, they're really
out that way.
I mean, I gave the Yankees a third baseman, but I'm looking to see exactly what the Yankees would need. I'm looking at they can upgrade any position they like, but some positions they can upgrade include center field, their center fielders in a contract year, second baseman, third baseman, first baseman, closer, middle reliever. There's only one first-round first baseman. It's Grahovic, 3-year starter at Texas A&M. Took them to the College World Series championship as a true freshman. Got injured, missed his sophomore year. Came back, stayed healthy this year. This is the only first-round first baseman in the draft. And if the Yankees took him, he would probably be... try to think what the Yankees have at first base. I think they have... not Cody Bellinger. Just who's the guy they have? They have Grisham at center fielder in a contract here. Paul Gold.
Hey Chris,
Is it Goldschmidt?
I'm going to join from my phone.
Awesome.
So
yeah, Paul Goldschmidt's in a contract here. You think is Grahovic who you want on the Yankees, or are you going to decide once you join from your phone? I think Williams. So the Yankees, we're just waiting on William to finish the mock, and then we're going to end the show because we're pretty much at the point where,
All right.
So William's back here. The Yankees are on the clock, and top two
Ooh,
players on the board are both Aggies.
Texas kids going to New York, huh?
We've got other players available if you don't want to get one of these two, but first base is a need. Paul Goldschmidt, who's like 37, is a UFA next year. I don't think the Yankees have a first baseman in their prospect pool, so this does make sense.
Yeah.
So So
That
Grahovic
sounds
is a
like,
Yankee.
like something they
Phillies
do.
are up. Cade Sorrell and Andrew Williamson, two right fielders, are the top two players on the board. Who's the right fielder of the Phillies? Schwarber's the DH. Bryce Harper. Brandon Marsh is done a really good job. He used to be the right fielder. He moved to a left fielder. Gabriel Rincones Jr. He was a 2022 third-round pick. He's had to step in for free agent Nick Castellanos, who was a icon on the Phillies for years. And, you know, if they are not, he hasn't, Rincones Jr. has been a solid player this season as like a stopgap, but he hasn't really been dominant either. So I guess the Phillies could go right fielder since they just lost Castellanos, who's a big player on their teams the past few years. That's not an easy player to replace. And even though Rincones is doing a good job, you might want someone with a higher ceiling. So Sorrell, Williamson, or do you want me to scroll down? Got Prosek. Alec Boehm, the Wichita State third overall pick in 2018, is also a UFA next year, so they could go third base too.
Yeah, that'll work.
So it sounds like you want Prosek from Magnolia Heights, Mississippi. We're sending the Mississippi guy to bond with the Philly fanatic. All right.
Yep.
Yeah. My brother does not like Gritty. And go get out of here. That's what Colby Armstrong said to Gritty, the Flyers mascot, during the NHL draft. But the Rockies have back-to-back picks. I don't think they're going to go, but they might go with one of these right fielders. They're definitely not going to take two of them. They also need pitching. And there's literally two pitchers left on the board. One is a college pitcher. The other is a high school pitcher. Jack Radell of Notre Dame, I have him at 38. I guarantee you that's going to be one of Williams' picks. I don't know if it'll be the pick at let me pull up the Rockies write-up from round one. I'm not going to reload it on the site, but I want to reload the code so I can read it and see.
Yeah,
okay,
if people wonder why I'm a White Sox fan, it's because the Rockies didn't exist when I was a kid. Well, there I go, aging myself. But
Jake McCarthy stole 10 bases, but he's a UFA in 2029. So if the Rockies draft a right fielder, that guy will be on pace to potentially replace McCarthy in 2029.
ooh.
And Cade Sorrell was a 3-year starter at Texas A&M, never injured, healthiest player. Because you look at the 3 Texas A&M first-round picks, they've got a first baseman, they got a shortstop that transferred from Maryland that's supposed to play second base in the MLB. Sorrell was the most consistent of the 3, but I have him getting picked last. So
Plus, he's 3 inches taller and about 15 pounds heavier. So, yeah.
And then I'm guessing we're going with Notre Dame pitcher at 38 because Rockies only have one good pitcher. It's Chase Dollinger. They're a 2023 first-round pick, 7th overall. I know they have trouble developing pitchers, but I think with 3 picks in the top 38, they're going to pick a pitcher. And Jack Radell of Notre Dame, he has really good numbers. I'll pull them up really quickly because, you know, Will Brick's the 4th and final catcher with a first-round grade. But, you know, this pitcher that I mocked the Rockies, Jack Radell, he was 7-4 as a freshman. And then he had a winning record as a freshman, but he had a bad ERA. But he was like 9-3 as a freshman, but his ERA was like 5. Then he went 7-4, got his ERA down to 3.58. Now his ERA is 3.29. He had 2 complete games this year, 116 strikeouts, and Radell's been a winner. Okay, he's been a winner. He's
winners.
A pitcher all 3 years at Notre Dame. So if we're going to get a guy to complement Dollinger in the draft, it's the perfect guy to get at 38. So I think Radell's probably the pick here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want Radell? Okay. And then we've got the Blue Jays who made the World Series. I gave him Aiden Ruiz as a Bo Bichetti replacement, and this is a guy the Yankees could draft. He plays for the Stony Brook High School, the Stony Brook Bears in Queens, New York. This is a guy Toronto could target. They did lose Bo Bichette. You got Will Brick. He is the catcher of Christian Brothers High School I thought Christian Brothers was in Tennessee. Let me look something up here. Yes,
Oh, I
Will
know.
Brick is in no, Christian Brothers is in South Carolina. So I got that right. I don't have to screw anything up. But yeah, top catcher in South Carolina. We can go with got 2 picks left for Toronto. But they do need a shortstop. But I feel like Toronto's World Series was a fluke last year. Outside of Guerrero, who they gave a 14-year extension to, and their GH George Springer, and their third baseman, they've got a lot of holes in the batting lineup after losing Bo Bichetti. They went all in last year with a lot of guys in contract years, hoping to cash in with a World Series. They got to Game 7 against the Dodgers, but they lost in extras. And I honestly think if the Mariners had won the AL pennant, they would have dethroned the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And I had the Mariners as my preseason pick to win the World Series in 2025. And in 2024, I had the Blue Jays as my preseason pick to beat the Braves. And the Blue Jays burned me in 2024 by sucking. Then they burned me in 2025 by rooting my preseason pick.
Well, I think they need a shortstop because, you can always see if
Aiden Ruiz is a top 25 player. Problem is, there's too many MLB teams with good shortstops right now. Toronto's not one of them, so
but a developmental one can always be.
And now the Dodgers, the defending the 2-time World Series champions, going for a 3-peat. We've got Williamson, we've got Will Brick, and we've got Eric Becker, we've got Jensen Hirsch-Cohn. They need a second baseman too, though. And the top second baseman available are, it says Los Angeles instead of Los Angeles Dodgers. So I will fix that. I will fix that right now so that we, when we use the simulator later today, it says Los Angeles Dodgers instead of Los Angeles. But it's only going to say Los Angeles. And who do you want with this last pick? Because the only first 40 picks are going to be televised.
Brick.
Let me click on Brick. The Dodgers get Brick, and yeah, that is Williams mock. I've done my mock. We've done Williams mock. It's 11:44. My iPad's at 82%, and the official MLB draft is at 1 p.m. Eastern. Picks 1 through 10 will be exclusively on Peacock, and picks 11 through 40 will be on MLB Network. I'm going to check to see if MLB Network's hosting the entire draft, and if they're not, I will go into Peacock right now and load the Peacock app. So Williams, good. And I'm guessing Williams going to stay for the White Sox pick and maybe the first 10 picks. He might come back for 34 later in the day, but I'm guessing he'll take a break after the White Sox pick at 1, and maybe he'll come back when the White Sox are up again at 34.
Yeah, that'll probably be it. Do a split shift.
Yeah. That's probably what will end up happening. But
give me time to charge everything back up. And
yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Episode 1000 of Draft Utopia is only an hour away. So much history. I'm going to talk about it here because I don't want to talk about it in the actual MLB draft. It'd be unprofessional to do. Joey's debut was episode 107. The episode where Joey met Orrin was 228. 307 was the episode where Joey and Orrin became friends. So it took 79 episodes for Orrin and Joey to become friends. A 79 episode,
aren't we, Joey?
For the exact science, the exact details. And Joey's told the story about how he met Orrin numerous times on the show. So for everyone who wanted the exact gap in that timeline, I did some research. Williams' debut was episode 910. And I would say Williams been on 80 of our 90 shows from 910 to 999 today. He's been on about 80. He had to take a few personal days due to other things that I'm not going to get into on the air. But yeah, I would say he's been pretty consistent. So episode 1000 will be number 80 for William. It'll be, we'll say it's 900 for Joey. It's technically 893, but yeah, next episode, Joey's 900th episode is going to be in season 16 of Draft Utopia next year, and we get five Saturdays in August. So if we start on August 1st, we can have 2 shows where we preview one division in the NFL instead of 2. That is kind of cool. And with week 0 of college football, I definitely only want to preview one division that week if we can. And I know the first week of August, no preseason games. We'd probably only want to preview one division then. So we'll figure it out. We can also start on August 8th if we want to extend our vacation a little bit too. That's also an option. We could start after the Hall of Fame game, because I thought the Hall of Fame game was July 31st, because that's what it was last year. It's August 6th this year. So the Hall of Fame game, do we start after the Hall of Fame game on the 8th, or do you guys want to start on August 1st? So I'm going to give you some input on that, and then we'll sign off and get ready for the draft.
Oh, August 1st.
If we start on August 1st, we will have 5 Saturdays to preview the 4. We'll have 5 Saturdays to preview the 8 NFL divisions. So we can do 2 shows where we only preview 1 division instead of 2, and that will make things easier. It will.
All right. Yeah,
That'll make things easier, because instead of previewing 2 divisions, we could preview 1, and we can do college football. We can launch the Draft Utopia 6-pack, which is something I've talked about. It's basically going to be a weekly draft simulator segment. Joey's going to have the option to scout 2 players if he joins. William's going to have the opportunity to scout 2 players. I will be able to scout 2 players, and we will pick the sport. So if I want a different sport besides football, I can choose that. But I am going to try to keep it current. I'm going to try to keep so I'm only going to scout athletes that are currently playing. And with August, I will try to keep it football related. But yeah, that is coming in season 16 of Draft Utopia. Also, I am going to screen share the show on TalkShoe in season 16 next year. So that is coming. And Under the Bleachers, I'm guessing it's going to be the first Wednesday in August, right before the NFL preseason. August 5th, I'm guessing, is the day we will resume.
Yeah.
Williams' debut was on August 3rd, 2024 on Draft Utopia. It'd be cool to have Under the Bleachers then, but he's not going to do a show on a Monday. It's just not going to happen, guys. No matter how much I beg William, Ron would have to beg him too to get him to do a show on Monday. William's got a lot of stuff going on Mondays. There's not going to be an Under the Bleachers show on Monday, so don't ask us again. It's not going to happen. It's probably going to be August 5th. It could be the 6th. But more than likely, it'll be August 5th to preview the preseason opener between Carolina and last year we previewed the 2 divisions of the teams in the Hall of Fame game. We're going to do that again. So it'll be August 8th. We will do the NFC West and the NFC South. So I'm guessing the format's going to be different with 5 Saturdays in August. We'll do the AFC North on August 1st after the Draft Utopia 6-pack. We'll do Notre Dame. Notre Dame will preview Notre Dame because Notre Dame, the reason we're going to discuss Notre Dame is because Phil Steele has Notre Dame going 12-0. I think we should open up with Notre Dame. I think we should also discuss group of 5 teams, our group of 5 picks, and then maybe the Pac-12 2.0. The Pac-12 is coming back as a conference. Are they going to have an automatic spot in the playoff in future years? Probably, but not this year. Maybe if they expand the playoff, they'll get a guaranteed spot.
Yeah, because last time it was
the new Pac-12 is basically the old Mountain West. That's basically what it is. Let's not kid ourselves. It's just the Pac-12 saying, we still deserve an automatic bid, but we have out West teams now because we lost all our good schools to the Big Ten. That's basically what the Pac-12 is now, even though I'm glad the Pac-12 is officially back.
Yeah, because which 2 teams is it that's left there?
And North Dakota State's in the FBS now. Could North Dakota State go from FCS champions to the college football playoff in year 1? That is another thing we could discuss on August 1st. But I just really don't feel like ruining episode 1000 by speculating on what we're going to do in the season 16 premiere and what we're going to do in episode 1000. I just want to keep episode 1000 strictly about today's MLB draft and the young men that are getting picked. And you can respect that. So, yeah. On that note, we are officially going to sign off. But that'll do it for episode 999. We'll see you guys for episode 1000 in about 1 hour and 10 minutes. 1 hour and 9 minutes, exactly. 1 hour, 8 minutes. But yeah, see you then at 1 p.m. I'll go and charge my iPad. And then, we'll be back at 1 p.m. Good show, guys. Good job, Joey.